My parents didn't skip my graduation. They attended to announce my sister was better. I stood on Yale's platform, diploma in hand, 2,400 people watching. Mom leaned to Dad's microphone, still clipped to his collar from his earlier toast. "She's the real success," she said, nodding toward my sister in the third row. The lapel mic caught everything. The speakers projected it across Woolsey Hall. 2,400 people heard my mother dismiss my Ivy League degree while I stood 15 feet away. I watched faces turn, heard the collective inhale. My sister's eyes went wide. Too late. Someone's aunt posted the audio clip. 890,000 shares by morning. Every person they'd invited heard Mom's voice through those speakers. Dad's law firm partners. Mom's hospital colleagues. Their church. Denial requires silence. The mic had ended that. The email arrived at 5:32 a.m. on a Tuesday in March. I was already awake. I'd been awake since 4:17, staring at my phone in the dark of my dorm room, refreshing my inbox every 30 seconds like some kind of addict. My roommate Priya had finally thrown a pillow at me around midnight the night before and told me to get therapy for my email obsession. "They'll accept you or they won't," she'd said. "Watching your phone won't change it." She was right. She was always right. But I watched anyway. When the notification finally appeared, Yale Law School admissions decision, my hands shook so badly I almost dropped the phone. I had to read the first line 3 times before my brain processed the words. "Dear Miss Martinez, congratulations. It is our pleasure to offer you admission to Yale Law School." I'd gotten in. Not just gotten in. Full merit scholarship. $45,000 a year. All 3 years covered. I sat there in my bed, watching the sunrise turn my ceiling from gray to gold, and I cried. Not pretty tears. The ugly kind. The kind where your face gets hot and your chest feels like it's splitting open. 4 years of sleepless nights. 4 years of choosing textbooks over meals, library shifts over parties, studying over sleeping. 4 years of telling myself it would be worth it. And now it was real. At 6:15 a.m., I called my parents. The phone rang 4 times. Mom answered, voice thick with sleep. "Elena? What's wrong?" "Nothing's wrong," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "I got in. Yale Law. Full scholarship." There was a pause. 2 seconds. 3. In that silence, I heard my father's voice in the background. "Who is it?" "It's Elena," Mom said, hand partially covering the phone. "She got into Yale." Another pause. Then Mom's voice again. Brighter but not bright enough. "Oh, honey. That's wonderful, really." 3 seconds of congratulations, I counted. "We'll call you later, okay?" Mom continued. "Your sister needs the car today, and I need to get your father up for work." "Okay," I said. "I just wanted to tell you." "We're proud," she said again. Then she hung up. I sat there holding my phone, staring at the acceptance email still open on my screen. Outside my window, the campus was waking up. Students heading to early classes, dining halls opening, the coffee shop across the quad turning on its lights. I'd gotten into Yale Law School with a full scholarship. My mother had been on the phone for 42 seconds. I didn't call them again that day. They didn't call me either. At 2:30 p.m., while I was in my comparative politics seminar, my phone buzzed with a text from Mom, not about Yale, about my sister. "Vanessa found the most amazing apartment in the North End. 2 bedrooms, exposed brick, walking distance to her office. They're asking $2,400 a month, but Dad and I are going to help with the security deposit. $3,000! But she's worth it." So excited for her. 3 exclamation points for Vanessa's apartment. 0 phone calls about my law school admission. I put my phone face down on my desk and tried to focus on Professor Chen's lecture about democratization theory. My hands were shaking again. But this time it wasn't excitement. That evening, I checked Instagram. Mistake. Vanessa had posted a photo of herself in her future apartment, empty rooms with afternoon light streaming through tall windows, her arms spread wide, caption reading, "New chapter, thank you Mom and Dad for believing in me." 43 comments. Mom had commented first. "So proud of you, baby girl. You deserve everything." I scrolled down to my parents' Facebook profiles. Nothing about Yale, nothing about law school, nothing about me. But Dad had shared Vanessa's apartment post with the caption, "Our girl is moving up in the world. So blessed to have such an ambitious daughter." I closed the apps. Priya found me an hour later, sitting on my bed in the dark. "Hey," she said softly, flipping on the desk lamp. "I saw your phone light. You okay?" I showed her the Instagram post, the Facebook share, the text message. She read them all twice. Then she sat down next to me and said the thing I'd been trying not to think all day. "Elena." They drove 2 hours to look at her apartment. I knew. I'd seen it in Mom's text walking distance to her office. Vanessa worked in Boston. My parents lived in Connecticut. They'd driven 2 hours to apartment hunt with my sister on the same day I'd gotten into Yale Law School. "It's fine," I said. "Vanessa needs their help. She's starting a new job, new city. It's a big transition." "You got a full scholarship to Yale Law," Priya said. "That's not a big transition?" I didn't answer. Priya squeezed my shoulder. "I'm proud of you. You know that, right? Even if they're not saying it, I am. Professor Chen is. Everyone who knows you is." "Thanks," I whispered. But I didn't want everyone's pride. I wanted theirs. I should have seen the pattern then. Looking back now, 18 months later, I can see it so clearly it hurts. But when you're living inside something, when it's the only family dynamic you've ever known, you convince yourself it's normal. You convince yourself you're being too sensitive. At 8 years old, I won the regional science fair with a project on water filtration. I'd spent 3 months building a prototype that could clean contaminated water using household materials. My teacher, Mrs. Rodriguez, called my parents to tell them I'd be advancing to the state competition. They didn't come to the awards ceremony. Vanessa had an art show at her school that same night. Just sketches. Mom had said when I asked why they couldn't come to both. But she worked so hard on them, and you understand, don't you? You're so mature for your age. I was 8. At 12, I made high honor roll for the 6th consecutive semester. The school mailed certificates home. I found mine in the recycling bin 3 days later, coffee-stained and crumpled. When I asked Mom about it, she said, "Oh, honey, I'm sorry. I must have thrown it away with the junk mail by accident." "But that's wonderful. We know you're smart." That same month, Vanessa brought home a B+ on her history test up from her usual C range. Dad took her out for ice cream. Just the two of them. Congratulatory Sundays. At 16, I scored a 1,580 on my SAT, 99th percentile. I told my parents over dinner. Dad looked up from his phone. "That's good, right?" "It's really good," I said. "It means I can apply anywhere." Harvard, Yale, Princeton. "Expensive schools," Mom said, passing the salad bowl to Vanessa. "You know we can't afford those." "They have financial aid," I said. "Need-based. Some of them are free if you get in." "Well, we'll see," Dad said. Then he turned to Vanessa. "How was your day, sweetheart?" We moved on. I got into Yale with the financial aid package that made it free. They talked about it for 42 seconds. My family wasn't poor. That's important to understand. Robert and Christine Martinez. Dad's an aerospace engineer. Mom worked part-time as a dental hygienist until I was in high school, then went full-time when she said they needed the money. We lived in a 4-bedroom colonial in suburban Connecticut with a 2-car garage and a finished basement. We weren't rich, but we weren't struggling, not the way they made it sound. Vanessa is 6 years older than me. Growing up, that age gap felt like a canyon. She was the teenager when I was the elementary schooler, the college student when I was in middle school. the young professional when I was surviving high school. But more than that, she was the favorite. Not subtly. Not in a way they tried to hide. When Vanessa turned 16, our parents bought her a used Honda Civic, silver, 2008, with a sunroof. I remember the morning they surprised her with it. Dad driving it home from the dealership, Mom recording on her phone, Vanessa screaming and crying in the driveway while the neighbors watched. I turned 16 on a Tuesday. They gave me a card with $50 inside and told me I could use Mom's car sometimes if I asked first, and filled the gas tank. When Vanessa went to prom, Mom spent $800 on her dress, custom alterations, professional hair and makeup. Dad rented a limo for her and her friends. I saw the receipt in Dad's office, $400 for 3 hours. When I went to prom 2 years later, Mom took me to Macy's during a sale. Pick something under $100, she said, checking her phone while I tried on dresses in the fluorescent lights. I found one for $79. Navy blue, simple. I did my own hair. You look beautiful, Mom said when I came downstairs that night. But she hadn't helped me with my makeup, hadn't taken photos, hadn't cried. When I asked about it later why Vanessa's prom was such an event and mine was so quiet, Mom had looked genuinely confused. Honey, you're so independent. You don't need all that fuss. Vanessa's always been more delicate. Delicate. I learned early that independent was code for, we don't need to try as hard with you. College was when the pattern became impossible to ignore. Vanessa went to a state school 30 minutes from home. She lived in the dorms freshman year, then moved into an off-campus apartment sophomore year. Mom and Dad paid her rent. $1,200 a month, plus utilities, plus groceries. She needs to focus on her studies, Dad explained when I asked about it. We don't want her stressed about working during school. I got into Yale with a financial aid package that covered tuition and fees. Room and board was on me, $14,000 a year. I worked 3 jobs. Monday through Wednesday mornings, campus library circulation desk, 7 to 11 a.m., $12 an hour. Thursday and Friday evenings, tutoring at the campus writing center, $15 an hour. Weekends, catering events at the alumni center, $13.50 an hour plus tips. I took out federal student loans for the rest, $62,000 over 4 years. Vanessa graduated with a degree in communications and no debt. I graduated summa cum laude with honors in political science and owed the government more than most people make in a year. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was watching my parents fund her life after college, too. Vanessa's first apartment in Boston. They paid the security deposit, $3,000. Vanessa's car broke down 6 months after graduation. They bought her a newer used car, $11,000. Vanessa wanted to take a weekend trip to Newport with her friends. Dad sent her $500 for fun. Meanwhile, I was eating ramen 4 nights a week and splitting a Netflix account with Priya because I couldn't justify $9 a month. When I asked Mom about it carefully, during a phone call my junior year, she'd sighed like I was being difficult. Elena, your sister is struggling right now. Her job doesn't pay well and she's trying to establish herself. You're at Yale, you're going to be fine. I'm working 30 hours a week, I said quietly. And that's building character, Mom replied. You'll thank us someday. Senior year was a blur of job applications, thesis writing, and exhaustion. I was surviving on 5 hours of sleep and coffee that tasted like regret. My thesis was on voting behavior in authoritarian regimes, 108 pages that I wrote between library shifts and tutoring sessions. I defended it in April. Got honors. My parents didn't ask to read it. But they did call me in March to tell me about Vanessa's promotion, assistant marketing manager, $48,000 a year. We're taking her out to celebrate, Mom said. Just a nice dinner. Ruth's Chris. You know how your sister loves a good steak. That's great, I said. I was eating peanut butter straight from the jar because I didn't have bread. How's the thesis coming? Mom asked, almost as an afterthought. Done, I said. I defend next week. Oh, wonderful. I'm sure you'll do great. You always do. She said it the way you'd comment on the weather. 3 weeks later, I got the email about Yale Law, full scholarship. They talked about it for 42 seconds. That night, Dad posted on Facebook about Vanessa's promotion. So proud of our ambitious daughter. The sky's the limit. I stared at that post for 20 minutes. Then I called Priya. They're never going to see me, I said when she answered. I see you, she replied. But that wasn't enough. Graduation was scheduled for May 28th. Yale's commencement. Woolsey Hall. 2,400 guests. I sent the invitation to my parents in March. Physical card, with a note I'd handwritten. Hope you can make it. It would mean a lot to have you there. Love. Elena. Mom texted back 2 days later. Got it. Looks beautiful. We'll be there. So excited. 3 exclamation points. It felt like progress. I let myself hope. April passed. My thesis defense went well. I got a job offer for a summer internship at Connecticut Legal Aid, $18 an hour, full-time. I accepted it immediately. It would help with the student loan payments that started in November. May arrived. Finals. Packing up my dorm. Saying goodbye to professors who'd shaped the last 4 years of my life. Professor Chen hugged me and said, "You're going to do extraordinary things, Elena. Don't let anyone convince you otherwise." I didn't tell her that the people I needed to hear that from had never said it. 3 days before graduation, I texted my parents, "Can't wait to see you on Saturday. Ceremony starts at 10 a.m. I saved seats for you in Section B, Row 3. Mom, we'll be there." I should have known better. May 28th started at 5:47 a.m. with a panic attack. I woke up gasping, sheets tangled around my legs, heart hammering against my ribs like it was trying to escape. The dream was already fading, something about empty chairs and echoing halls, but the anxiety stayed. Today was graduation. Today, my parents would finally see me. Really see me. I got out of bed and showered in the communal bathroom down the hall. The dorm was quiet. Most of my floor had already moved out. Priya was gone. Her family had taken her home the day before, but not before she'd hugged me so hard my ribs hurt and whispered, "You earned this. Remember that." I dried my hair. Put on the dress I'd borrowed from my roommate's roommate, navy blue. Simple. Appropriate for wearing under the graduation gown. I'd borrowed the gown too. Yale let you rent them, but I'd found someone willing to lend me theirs for free. $62,000 in debt, and I was borrowing clothes for my Ivy League graduation. I put on mascara. My hands shook. At 7:30 a.m., I texted my parents, "Morning, I'm heading over soon. See you there." No response. By 8:15, I was walking across campus toward Woolsey Hall. The morning was perfect blue sky, warm sun, that specific kind of late May light that makes everything look like a memory. Other students walked in clusters with their families. Parents taking photos. Siblings complaining about having to wake up early. Everyone smiling. I walked alone. At 8:45, I entered Woolsey Hall. The space was massive, tall ceilings, rows of wooden seats, a stage at the front already set up with chairs for the graduates and podium for the speakers. Families were filing in, finding their seats, reading the programs. I checked my phone. No response to my text. Section B, Row 3. I'd reserved seats B14 and B15 with the little cards they'd given us. I found the row, saw my name cards on the 2 seats, and felt something loosen in my chest. They'd be here. They had to be here. At 9:30, the seats were still empty. At 9:45, the processional music started. At 9:47, I saw them. Dad came first, wearing a suit I'd seen him wear to weddings. Mom followed, holding a Starbucks cup, her hair done, wearing the dress she'd bought for Vanessa's college graduation 6 years ago. Behind them, Vanessa, designer sundress, sunglasses perched on her head. They found their seats, B14 and B15, right where I'd saved them. Dad waved at me when he saw me looking. I waved back, and for the first time in weeks, I felt my shoulders relax. They came. They actually came. The ceremony was long. That's what everyone had warned me. Graduation ceremonies are always long. Speeches, awards, the dean welcoming everyone. A keynote speaker talking about purpose and resilience and the future. I sat in my assigned seat in the graduate section, 6 rows from the front, and tried to pay attention, but I kept glancing back at section B, row 3, just to confirm they were still there. They were. At 10:47, they started calling names. We'd been instructed to walk across the stage when called, shake hands with the dean, receive our diploma cover. The actual diploma came in the mail, and exit stage left. Simple. Quick. Efficient. When they reached the Ms., my heart started pounding again. Elena Sophia Martinez, Bachelor of Arts in Political Science, summa cum laude. I stood, walked up the stairs to the stage. The lights were bright, and I couldn't see the audience clearly. Just shapes and shadows and the cameras flashing. But I knew they were there. Row 3. Watching. I shook Dean Holloway's hand. She smiled at me. Congratulations, Miss Martinez. Thank you, I whispered. I took the diploma cover, turned toward the audience. For half a second, I let myself feel it. I did it. 4 years, 3 jobs, 62,000 in loans. And I did it. I walked off the stage and returned to my seat. That's when I heard it. At first, I thought I'd imagined it. Some trick of acoustics. Some voice from another conversation. But then I heard it again, clearer this time, projected through the speakers mounted around the hall. A woman's voice. Familiar. Mom's voice. She's the real success. I froze. The ceremony continued around me. Another name called, another graduate walking across the stage, but I wasn't paying attention anymore. I turned in my seat, scanning section B, row 3. Dad was leaning toward Mom, nodding. His lapel mic was still clipped to his suit jacket, the one they'd given him earlier when he'd delivered a toast during the donor reception. He was a Yale alumnus, class of 1985. They'd asked him to say a few words before the main ceremony. He'd forgotten to turn off the mic. Mom was speaking quietly, her face turned toward Vanessa, who sat on her other side. She's the real success, Mom said again, and her voice echoed through Woolsey Hall like a pronouncement. Look at her, thriving. She was talking about Vanessa. Not me. I watched as faces around me started to turn. Students in my row. Families in the sections nearby. Everyone hearing what I was hearing. The ceremony paused. Dean Holloway glanced toward the sound booth, confused. A tech scrambled to find the source. Dad noticed the stares. Looked down. Saw the mic. His face went white. He fumbled with the clip, finally turning it off, but it was too late. 2,400 people had heard my mother dismiss my Ivy League graduation while I sat 15 feet away to praise my sister. I couldn't breathe. The ceremony resumed. The next name was called, but the damage was done. Around me, students whispered. A girl in front of me turned and mouthed, "Are you okay?" I nodded. I wasn't. The rest of the ceremony passed in a blur. I don't remember who spoke after that. I don't remember when they called the last name or when we threw our caps or when the processional music played again. I remember walking out of Woolsey Hall into the bright May sunlight and feeling like I was underwater. Families swarmed the lawn outside, hugging, taking photos, crying happy tears. My parents found me near the east entrance. "Elena!" Mom's voice was too bright, too cheerful. "Congratulations, honey." She tried to hug me. I stepped back. "Did you—" I started, then stopped. My voice felt wrong, too quiet. "Did you know the mic was on?" Dad's jaw tightened. "It was an accident." "An accident," I repeated. Vanessa stood behind them, arms crossed, looking at her phone. She wouldn't meet my eyes. "Let's not make a scene," Mom said quietly. Her smile was strained. "It's your graduation day. Let's just enjoy it." "You called her the real success," I said. The words came out flat, empty, while I was sitting right there, on the stage, at my graduation. Elena, Mom's voice dropped. Warning. People are watching. Good, I said. Let them. Dad grabbed Mom's arm. Let's go. She's being dramatic. They left. Just like that. Vanessa followed, finally looking up from her phone long enough to glance back at me. Her expression was unreadable. I stood there on the lawn of Woolsey Hall, in my borrowed dress and rented gown, holding my empty diploma cover, and watched my family walk away. Around me, other families celebrated. I pulled out my phone. One new text from Mom, sent 3 minutes ago. The message contained a photo of a Visa gift card. Below it, for your celebration dinner. Dad's card wouldn't work at the ATM. Enjoy. I clicked the photo to enlarge it. $25. They'd given me a $25 Visa gift card for graduating summa cum laude from Yale. I stood there staring at that photo for what felt like hours. Then I noticed something in the background of the image, a handwritten note partially visible beneath the gift card. I zoomed in. The note read, "For your celebration dinner, Dad's card wouldn't work at the ATM." Dad's card wouldn't work. My father, the aerospace engineer with the perfect credit score. The man who bragged at every holiday dinner about his 810 FICO rating had a card declined at an ATM. Something cold settled in my chest. That didn't make sense. Cards don't get declined for people with perfect credit. Not unless something was very, very wrong. I looked back toward the street where my parents had parked. Their car was gone. I was alone on the lawn with 200 other families, holding a $25 gift card and a terrible suspicion I couldn't name yet. But I would. I opened my phone and pulled up Credit Karma, an app I downloaded freshman year but never actually checked. I'd been too busy surviving to worry about my credit score. The app took 30 seconds to load. When the screen finally refreshed, I saw a number I didn't recognize. Credit score, 580. I blinked. Read it again. That couldn't be right. I'd never missed a payment on my student credit card. I'd never missed anything. I clicked the Details tab. The screen loaded, and my entire world tilted sideways. 3 credit cards I'd never opened. 3 balances I'd never charged. $24,320 I didn't owe. Except I did. Because they were in my name. I didn't sleep that night. I sat on my dorm room floor. Priya had already moved out. The room was empty except for my packed boxes and stared at my phone screen until my eyes burned. Credit score, 580. 3 credit cards. Chase, Discover, Capital One. Total balance, $24,320. None of it made sense. I'd never applied for these cards, never received them in the mail, never used them. But there they were, in my name, with my social security number, destroying the credit I'd spent 4 years carefully building. I clicked through each account on the Credit Karma app, hands shaking so badly I kept hitting the wrong buttons. Chase card, opened 18 months ago. Current balance, $8,200. Last payment, 63 days overdue. Discover card, opened 14 months ago. Current balance, $4,780. Last payment, 47 days overdue. Capital One card, opened 9 months ago. Current balance, $11,340. Last payment, 31 days overdue. I pulled up my email and searched Chase credit card. One result, from February of last year. Subject line, "Welcome to Chase Freedom Unlimited." The email had been automatically filtered to spam. I opened it. Congratulations! Your Chase Freedom Unlimited card has been approved. Your card will arrive within 7 to 10 business days at the address on file. I checked the address. 347 Meadowbrook Lane, West Hartford, CT06117. My parents' house. My hands were shaking harder now. I searched Discover card in my email. Same thing. One automated welcome email from April last year, filtered to spam. Card mailed to my parents' address. Capital One. Same pattern. August last year. For 18 months, credit cards had been opened in my name and mailed to my parents' house, and I'd never known because the emails went to spam, and I'd been too busy working 3 jobs to check. Someone had intercepted those cards. Someone had activated them. Someone had been using them for a year and a half. I thought about the graduation card, the $25 Visa gift card, the handwritten note, Dad's card wouldn't work at the ATM. My father's card had been declined. My father, who bragged about his 810 credit score at every Thanksgiving dinner, who lectured me about fiscal responsibility when I asked for help with textbooks, who said, "We're not made of money, Elena," every time I needed anything. His card had been declined. And the next day, 3 credit cards in my name cards I'd never opened had a combined balance of $24,320. The math was simple. The conclusion was impossible. No, they wouldn't. They couldn't. But I pulled up the Chase account anyway, clicked View Recent Transactions. The list loaded. May 15. West Elm, $2,400. My stomach dropped. I knew that charge. I'd seen it on Vanessa's Instagram 3 weeks ago. A photo of her new apartment with the caption, "Adulting means buying your own couch. Number West Elm, number new place vibes." I clicked the next charge. May 3, Napa Valley Resort, $1,850. I pulled up Facebook, searched my parents' profiles, scrolled back to early May. There it was. Mom's post from May 5. Birthday getaway with my girls. Number Napa Valley, number mother-daughter time. The photo showed Mom and Vanessa at a vineyard. Wine glasses raised, sunset in the background. They'd gone to Napa for Vanessa's birthday. On my credit card, the one I didn't know existed. I kept scrolling. April 22, AutoZone, $3,200. March 18, Pottery Barn, $890. March 3, Nordstrom, $1,240. February 10, Delta Airlines, $1,680. I cross-referenced each charge with my parents and Vanessa's social media. Every single one. The AutoZone charge, Vanessa's car repair. She'd posted about it. Car troubles, but Dad to the rescue. The Pottery Barn charge. Mom's dining room furniture update, posted with the caption, "New table, new memories, number home decor." The Nordstrom charge. Vanessa's work wardrobe refresh. Entire Instagram story series trying on blazers. The Delta charge. Family trip to visit Dad's brother in Arizona. I hadn't been invited. They'd used my name, my credit, my future, to fund Vanessa's life. While I worked 30 hours a week and ate ramen for dinner. I pulled up the Discover card transactions. More charges. Target, Amazon, Whole Foods grocery orders, gas stations near their house. Capital One was the same. 18 months of their expenses, charged to cards in my name, sent to their address, maxed out and unpaid. The room was spinning. I stood up, sat down, stood up again. My phone rang. I stared at the screen. Mom calling. I let it ring. She called again. Then Dad. Then Mom again. I turned off my phone. At 3:47 a.m., I turned my phone back on. 17 missed calls, 9 voicemails. I didn't listen to them. Instead, I opened Google and typed, "What to do if someone opened credit cards in your name?" The first result was from the Federal Trade Commission. Identity theft. What to do if it happens to you. Identity theft. The word sat on my screen like an accusation. That's what this was. Identity theft. A crime. A federal crime. I clicked the link. The article outlined steps. File a police report. Contact the credit card companies. Freeze your credit. File an FTC identity theft report. At the bottom of the page, a note. If a family member committed identity theft against you, You have the right to press charges. Identity theft is illegal, regardless of the relationship. My parents had committed a federal crime against me, their daughter, for 18 months, to pay for Vanessa's couch. I closed my laptop and lay down on the floor of my empty dorm room. The ceiling was water-stained. I'd looked at that stain for 4 years, lying in bed after late-night study sessions, wondering if I'd make it through. Wondering if the sacrifice would be worth it. I'd survived Yale, but my own parents had sabotaged me the entire time. I must have fallen asleep on the floor because the next thing I remember is sunlight hitting my face and someone knocking on my door. "Elena? You in there?" Priya's voice. I dragged myself up and opened the door. Priya took one look at my face and pushed inside. "Okay, what happened? You look like you haven't slept." "I haven't," I said. My voice sounded strange, flat. "Did something happen after graduation?" "Your parents opened 3 credit cards in my name and stole $24,000 from me." The words came out before I could stop them. Priya stared at me. "What?" I showed her my phone. The Credit Karma screen, the 3 accounts, the transactions cross-referenced with Instagram posts. She scrolled through everything twice. Then she looked up at me, and her expression was something I'd never seen before. Rage. "Elena," she said slowly, "your parents committed identity theft. I know. This is a federal crime. I know. You need to call the police, right now." "They're my parents," I whispered. Priya grabbed my shoulders. "They stole from you, while you worked yourself to death, while you took out loans. They used your name to buy your sister a couch." I started crying. Not the pretty kind, the ugly, gasping kind where you can't breathe. Priya pulled me into a hug and held me while I fell apart. When I finally stopped, she said, "We're going to fix this, but first, you need to see a lawyer." By 11:47 p.m. that night, I'd done what I should have done years ago. I'd requested my official credit reports from all 3 bureaus: Experian, Equifax, TransUnion. Credit Karma had shown me the summary. The official reports showed me everything. I sat at Priya's kitchen table. She'd brought me home with her for the weekend, insisted I not be alone, and opened the Experian report first. The PDF was 47 pages long. Personal information. Elena Sophia Martinez. Social Security number, *4719. Date of birth, the 14th of March, 2002. Current address, Yale dorm address. Previous address, 347 Meadowbrook Lane, West Hartford CT 06117. My parents' house listed as my previous address. That's how they'd done it. I'd lived there until age 18. Technically, it was a valid previous address. Account summary. Total accounts, 4. Open accounts, 4. Accounts in good standing, 1. Accounts with delinquencies, 3. One good account, my student credit card, the one I'd opened freshman year, the one I'd never missed a payment on, $500 limit, $0 balance, perfect payment history, 3 delinquent accounts, the fraudulent ones. I scrolled to the details. Chase Freedom Unlimited, opened the 14th of February 2023. Credit limit, $9,000. Current balance, $8,200. Status, 63 days past due. Payment history, 4 missed payments in last 6 months. The 14th of February 2023. Valentine's Day. While I was taking my midterm exams, someone was opening a credit card in my name. I pulled up my calendar from that month. The 14th of February 2023 was a Tuesday. I'd worked a double shift at the library that day, 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., then gone straight to my political theory exam at 4 p.m. I'd called my parents that night to tell them I thought I'd aced the exam. Mom had been distracted. "That's great, honey. I'm making dinner. Can I call you back?" She never called back. Had the credit card arrived that day? Had she signed for it? Activated it? I kept reading. Transaction history. Chase Freedom Unlimited. The 18th of February 2023. Pottery Barn. $1,647.82. The 22nd of February 2023. Target. $423.18. The 3rd of March 2023. Nordstrom. $1,240. The 15th of March 2023. Amazon. $891.44. I cross-referenced with my photos. I had screenshots of Vanessa's Instagram from March 2023. The 4th of March 2023. Vanessa's post showing off her spring wardrobe refresh from Nordstrom. 5 photos. Professional mirror selfies. Caption: Investing in myself. Work wardrobe goals. She'd been investing in herself with my stolen credit. The 16th of March 2023. Mom's post showing her new living room furniture. Finally upgraded. Home decor. Pottery Barn. The $1,647 Pottery Barn charge. I felt sick. I opened the Discover report. Discover it. Cash back. Opened. The 3rd of April 2023. Credit limit. $5,000. Current balance. $4,780. Status. 47 days past due. The 3rd of April 2023. The week before my spring break. I'd stayed on campus that year, couldn't afford to fly home, and I'd picked up extra tutoring shifts. My parents had gone to Florida, posted beach photos. Much needed R&R, Mom's caption read. I scrolled through the Discover transactions. The 8th of April 2023, Southwest Airlines, $840. The 10th of April 2023, Marriott Hotel, $1,190. The 12th of April 2023, restaurant charges, $380. 3 separate. They'd used my credit card to pay for a Florida vacation. While I stayed on campus eating dollar pizza and tutoring students for $15 an hour, my hands were shaking again. I opened the Capital One report. Capital One, Quicksilver One. Opened. The 12th of August 2023. Credit limit, $12,000. Current balance, $11,340. Status, 31 days past due. The 12th of August 2023. The month before my senior year started. I'd been working double shifts at the Alumni Center that month, trying to save enough money for textbooks. I'd called Mom to ask if they could help with even one book. My constitutional law textbook was $340 used. Honey, we just can't right now, she'd said. Money is really tight. 3 days later, Vanessa posted photos from her birthday dinner. Fleming's Steakhouse. Champagne. Dad in the background, credit card in hand. I scrolled through the Capital One charges. The 15th of August 2023. Fleming's Steakhouse, $380. The 22nd of August 2023. West Elm, $2,400. The 3rd of September 2023. AutoZone, $3,200. The 18th of September 2023. Delta Airlines, $1,680. The West Elm charge. Vanessa's couch. The AutoZone charge. Her car repair. The Delta charge. Family trip to Arizona. I hadn't been invited. Every major expense in Vanessa's life for the last 9 months had been funded by a credit card in my name. I stared at the reports spread across Priya's kitchen table. 47 pages from Experian, 38 from Equifax, 41 from TransUnion, all telling the same story. For 18 months from February 2023 to now, May 2024, my parents had been opening credit cards in my name, maxing them out and not paying them. They'd funded Vanessa's entire lifestyle, her apartment furniture, her wardrobe, her car, their vacations, all while telling me they couldn't afford to help with textbooks, all while I worked 3 jobs, all while I took out $62,000 in federal student loans. They'd stolen $24,320 from me. No, not from me. From my future. Because this wasn't just about money. This was about my credit score destroyed. My ability to rent an apartment after graduation compromised. My chances of getting approved for future loans ruined. They'd sabotaged my entire financial future to avoid telling Vanessa no. I looked up at Priya. She was reading over my shoulder, her face getting darker with every page. They started in February, I said quietly. Your junior year. Right after Vanessa moved into that expensive apartment, Priya said. The one your parents said they'd help with. They didn't help, they used my name. Elena. Priya's voice was steady, calm. The kind of calm that comes before a storm. This is identity theft. Your parents committed a Class D felony in Connecticut. I knew. I'd Googled it at 4 a.m. Connecticut General Statutes, Section 5.3.129a, identity theft. Up to 5 years imprisonment and $5,000 fine. You need to report this, Priya said. To who? The police, the credit card companies, the FTC. She pulled out her phone. There's a legal aid office in New Haven. They do free consultations. I'm making you an appointment. Priya. No. She looked at me. You're not protecting them. Not this time. They committed a crime. They need to face consequences. My phone buzzed. Text from Mom. Elena, please call us. We need to talk about yesterday. There's been a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding. They'd opened 3 credit cards in my name, and she was calling it a misunderstanding. I showed Priya the text. She took my phone and blocked the number. Tomorrow, she said, we're calling a lawyer. The next morning, Sunday, May 29th, I built a spreadsheet. I couldn't sleep anyway. Might as well weaponize my insomnia. Priya was still asleep in her bedroom. I sat at her kitchen table with my laptop, 3 credit reports, my phone, and a determination that felt like rage. I opened Excel. Column A, date. Column B, charge amount. Column C, merchant. Column D, which card. Column E, evidence, screenshot, social media post, photo. Column F, context. I started with the 14th of February 2023. Row 1. Date, the 14th of February 2023. Amount, $0. Card, opened. Merchant, Chase Bank. Card, Chase Freedom Unlimited. Evidence, welcome email, spam folder. Context, card opened on Valentine's Day. I was taking political theory midterm. Called parents that night. Mom said she'd call back. I worked backwards through the charges, every single one. By noon, I had 83 rows. 83 charges across 18 months across 3 cards. $24,320 total. But the spreadsheet showed more than just numbers. It showed a pattern. The first card Chase had been opened 3 days after Vanessa signed the lease on her Boston apartment. I had the Instagram post saved. The 11th of February 2023. Vanessa holding keys in front of a brick building. New beginnings, officially a Boston girl. The comments. Mom, so proud of you, baby. Let us know what you need for furniture. Dad, our girl is all grown up. We'll help you get settled. February 14. Chase card opened in my name. February 18. First charge, $1,647 at Pottery Barn. February 20. Vanessa's next Instagram post. Furniture shopping with Mom. Can't wait to make this place home. They'd told her they'd help with furniture. They'd used my stolen credit to keep that promise. February 14. Chase card opened in my name. February 18. First charge, $1,647 at Pottery Barn. February 20. Vanessa's next Instagram post. Furniture shopping with Mom. Can't wait to make this place home. They'd told her they'd help with furniture. They'd used my stolen credit to keep that promise. The second card Discover had been opened 2 days before their Florida vacation. I found Mom's Facebook planning posts. The 1st of April 2023. Much needed getaway coming up. Can't wait for some beach time. A friend commented, "Lucky you. We can't afford a vacation this year with everything so expensive." Mom's reply, "We've been saving. Sometimes you just have to treat yourself." April 3. Discover card opened in my name. April 8. $840. Southwest Airlines charge. April 10. $1,190 Marriott Hotel charge. They hadn't been saving. They'd been stealing. The third card, Capital One, had been opened 1 week after I called to ask for help with my constitutional law textbook. I had the text exchange saved. Me, the 5th of August, 2023. Hey, Mom, my con law book is $340 used. Any chance you could help with even part of it? I'm a little short after paying rent. Mom, the 5th of August, 2023. Oh, honey, I wish we could. Money is so tight right now. Dad's hours got cut a bit. Can you maybe share with a classmate? Me, the 5th of August, 2023. Okay, no worries. I'll figure it out. Mom, the 5th of August, 2023. You're so resourceful. Love you. August 12. Capital One card opened in my name. $12,000 credit limit. August 15. $380 charge at Fleming's Steakhouse for Vanessa's birthday. I'd skipped meals that week to save money for the textbook. I'd ended up sharing with another student and taking photos of the chapters I needed. They'd been eating $40 steaks on my credit. I kept building the timeline. For every major expense Vanessa had, there was a corresponding charge on my fraudulent credit cards. September 2023. Vanessa's car needed major repairs. $3,200. My Capital One card. October 2023. Vanessa's work wardrobe update. $890. My Chase card. November 2023. Thanksgiving with the family in Arizona. I wasn't invited. $1,680 airfare. My Capital One card. December 2023. Christmas gifts. Multiple charges at Nordstrom, Target, Amazon totaling $2,100. All my cards. January 2024. Vanessa's apartment furniture. Upgrade. $1,400. My Discover card. For 18 months, every time Vanessa needed something or wanted something, my parents charged it to cards in my name. And every time I called asking for help, they said money was tight. The timeline told a story. My parents hadn't made a mistake. They hadn't had a lapse in judgment. They'd made a choice. Every time they opened a card, every time they activated it, every time they charged something, every time they didn't pay the bill, they'd chosen Vanessa's comfort over my future. 83 times. By 3 p.m., I'd cross-referenced every charge with social media evidence. I had screenshots, photos, captions, timestamps. I had text messages where they said they couldn't afford to help me. I had credit card statements showing they charged thousands that same week. I had a timeline that showed exactly when this started and why. I saved the spreadsheet. Evidence, timeline, XLSX. Then I made a folder on my desktop. Identity, theft, case. I moved the spreadsheet into it. Added PDFs of all 3 credit reports. Added screenshots of every Instagram post. Every Facebook update. Every text message. I created a document called Summary, Docs, and wrote, between the 14th of February 2023 and the 28th of May 2024, Robert and Christine Martinez opened 3 credit cards in their daughter's name, Elena Martinez, without her knowledge or consent. The cards were sent to their home address 347 Meadowbrook Lane, West Hartford, CT 06117. They charged $24,320 total across 83 transactions. They have made no payments in the last 3 months, causing all 3 accounts to become delinquent and destroying Elena's credit score dropped from to 750 to 580. Evidence suggests the funds were used primarily to support their elder daughter, Vanessa Martinez, age 28, and their own lifestyle expenses. I saved it. I'd been awake for 34 hours. I closed my laptop. Priya found me an hour later, asleep at her kitchen table, head on my arms, spreadsheet still visible on the screen. She read it. All 83 rows. When I woke up, she said, "Tomorrow morning, we're calling that lawyer." I nodded. Because she was right. This wasn't a family problem anymore. This was a crime. And I had all the evidence I needed to prove it. Monday morning came too fast. I woke up on Priya's couch at 6:23 a.m., disoriented and aching. My neck was stiff. My eyes felt like sandpaper. For 3 seconds, I didn't remember why I was here. Then, I did. $24,320. 3 credit cards. 18 months. My parents. I grabbed my phone off the coffee table. 29 missed calls since yesterday. 15 from Mom, 11 from Dad, 3 from Vanessa. 12 voicemails I hadn't listened to. I started to open the voicemail app, then stopped. No. Whatever they had to say, excuses, justifications, apologies, it didn't matter. The credit reports didn't lie. The charges were real. The timeline was documented. They'd stolen from me for 18 months. Nothing they said could change that. I deleted all the voicemails without listening. Priya emerged from her bedroom at 7:15, already dressed, holding 2 mugs of coffee. "You're up," she said, handing me one. "Good. The legal aid office opens at 9. I already called on Friday and got you an appointment for 9:30. I blinked. "You did?" "You were building your evidence spreadsheet." Someone had to be practical. She sat down next to me. "How are you feeling?" "Like I'm living in someone else's nightmare." "Valid." She sipped her coffee. "But Elena, you know what you have to do, right?" I did. I'd known since 3 a.m. when I finished the timeline spreadsheet. Since I cross-referenced every charge with every Instagram post. Since I saw the pattern so clearly it felt like physical evidence. This wasn't a mistake. It was systematic theft. "I have to report them," I said quietly. Priya nodded. "To the police. To the credit card companies. To the FTC. They're my parents. They committed a federal crime against you." The words hung in the air between us. Federal crime. Identity theft. My parents. What if I started, then stopped? What if what? Priya's voice was gentle but firm. What if I'm overreacting? What if there's an explanation I haven't thought of? What if... Elena. Priya set down her coffee and turned to face me fully. "I've known you for 4 years. You're the least dramatic person I know. You worked 3 jobs without complaining. You ate ramen for dinner and called it a balanced meal because you threw in some frozen vegetables. You never asked for help even when you needed it. You're not overreacting. You're underreacting." She pulled out her phone and opened my evidence folder. I'd shared it with her last night. "Look at this. 83 charges. $24,320. 18 months. Every time you called asking for help, they said they couldn't afford it. That same week, they charged hundreds of dollars on your credit cards." She scrolled to the spreadsheet. Row 47. The 5th of August 2023. The day I'd asked for help with my textbook. The day Mom said money was so tight. 3 days before they opened the Capital One card with a $12,000 limit. 7 days before they charged $380 at Fleming's for Vanessa's birthday dinner. "They made a choice," Priya said. "Every single time. They chose to steal from you rather than tell your sister no." My throat felt tight. "I know," I whispered. "So we're going to that appointment," Priya said. "We're going to show a lawyer everything you found, and we're going to figure out your options." "Okay." "And Elena?" She waited until I looked at her. "Whatever you decide to do, report them. Sue them. Just dispute the charges, I'm with you." You're not alone in this." I started crying again. Priya hugged me while I fell apart for the second time in 3 days. When I finally stopped, she handed me a tissue and said, "Go shower. We leave in an hour." Connecticut legal aid occupied the second floor of a building on Chapel Street in downtown New Haven. The waiting room had fluorescent lights, plastic chairs, and a water cooler that made concerning noises. We arrived at 9:20. I signed in at the front desk, hands shaking so badly I could barely write my name. At 9:35, a woman in her late 30s appeared in the doorway. "Elena Martinez?" I stood. "I'm Sarah Chen," she said, extending her hand. "I'm an attorney here. Come on back." Her office was small but organized. Law books lined one wall. A desk covered in case files took up most of the space. She gestured to 2 chairs across from her desk. "Your friend can come in too if you'd like." Priya followed me in. Attorney Chen sat down and pulled out a legal pad. "So, tell me what's going on." I took a breath. My parents opened 3 credit cards in my name without my permission. They charged $24,320 over 18 months. They haven't made any payments in 3 months. My credit score dropped from 750 to 580. I found out 2 days ago. The words came out flat, clinical, like I was describing someone else's life. Attorney Chen wrote everything down. "Okay, let's start from the beginning. When did you first discover the fraudulent accounts?" "Saturday, May 28th, after my graduation ceremony." I pulled out my phone. I'd logged into Credit Karma and saw 3 cards I'd never opened. And these cards were opened when? February 2023, April 2023, August 2023. I opened my evidence folder on my phone. I have all the documentation. Credit reports from all 3 bureaus, transaction histories, timeline spreadsheet, social media evidence showing my parents and sister using the charged items. Attorney Chen looked up. "You have social media evidence?" I handed her my phone. She scrolled through the folder. Her expression didn't change, but I saw her jaw tighten slightly. "You built this in 2 days?" I couldn't sleep. She kept scrolling. The spreadsheet, the cross-referenced Instagram posts, the text messages where I'd asked for help, the credit card charges from that same week. Finally, she looked up. "Miss Martinez," she said slowly, "this is identity theft under Connecticut General Statutes, Section 5-3, a 129A. There it was, the legal term I'd been avoiding. Identity theft. "I know," I whispered. "Do you understand what that means?" I nodded. "It's a Class D felony, up to 5 years imprisonment and $5,000 fine." Attorney Chen leaned back in her chair. "You've done your research. I'm starting Yale law in the fall." Something shifted in her expression. Respect, maybe, or sympathy. "Okay," she said. "Let me explain your options. You have 3 potential paths forward here." She pulled out a blank piece of paper and drew 3 columns. Path 1, criminal charges. You file a police report with the New Haven Police Department. They open a fraud investigation. If the evidence supports it and based on what you've shown me, it absolutely does, the prosecutor could bring criminal charges against your parents. If convicted, they'd face potential jail time, probation, fines, and court-ordered restitution. My stomach dropped. Jail time. For my parents. Path 2. Civil lawsuit. You sue your parents for damages in civil court. You'd be seeking the $24,320 they stole, plus interest, plus the cost of credit repair services, plus attorney fees. If you win and again, your evidence is very strong, the court would order them to pay you back. This doesn't involve criminal prosecution, but it's public record. Path 3, FTC, Identity Theft Report and Dispute Process. You file a report with the Federal Trade Commission, stating you're a victim of identity theft. You use that report to dispute all the fraudulent charges with the credit card companies. The companies investigate, remove the charges from your account, and go after whoever opened the cards in this case, your parents, for the money. Your credit gets repaired, but you're not directly pursuing criminal or civil action." She looked up at me. "The question is, what do you want to happen?" I didn't know how to answer that. What did I want? I wanted this to not be real. I wanted to wake up and discover it was a mistake. I wanted my parents to not be criminals. But that wasn't an option. "What do most people do?" I asked. "In this situation? When family members commit identity theft?" Attorney Chen set down her pen. "Honestly, most people don't report it. They quietly dispute the charges, take the credit hit, and try to move on, because reporting family feels impossible. But, but those people continue to be victimized. The family members face no consequences. They often do it again, and the victim carries the financial and emotional burden alone." She paused. "You have a choice to make, Miss Martinez. You can protect your parents from consequences, or you can protect yourself from future harm. In my experience, you rarely get to do both." The silence stretched. Priya shifted in her chair beside me. "Can Elena think about it?" "Of course," Attorney Chen said. "This is a huge decision. Take your time." "But—" I started, then stopped. "But what?" she prompted. "If I file a police report, what happens next? Specifically?" Attorney Chen pulled out another sheet of paper. "You'd go to the New Haven Police Department. Request to file a report for identity theft. You'd bring all your evidence, the credit reports, the transaction histories, your timeline. An officer would take your statement. They'd assign a case number." She wrote as she talked, creating a flowchart. "The detective assigned to your case would contact the credit card companies. Request documentation proving who opened the accounts, who activated the cards, where they were mailed. Based on your evidence, that's all going to point to your parents." "Then what?" "The detective would contact your parents, interview them. They'd likely deny it initially, but the evidence is overwhelming. At that point, the prosecutor decides whether to file charges. Given the dollar amount over $1,000 triggers felony charges in Connecticut and the clear documentation, they'd almost certainly proceed. And my parents would be arrested, arraigned, offered a plea deal, or go to trial." Her voice was gentle but honest. "Miss Martinez, I won't sugarcoat this. If you report your parents, they will face criminal consequences. That's what happens when someone commits a crime." My hands were shaking. "They're going to hate me," I whispered. "They stole from you," Priya said beside me. "I know, but they're still my parents." Attorney Chen folded her hands on her desk. "Let me ask you something. Do you have student loans?" "Yes, $62,000. And these credit cards, if you don't dispute them, you're responsible for the balance. $24,320, plus interest. So you're looking at almost $90,000 in debt. You're starting law school in the fall. What's your expected salary after graduation?" "Public interest work. Probably $60,000 to $70,000. So you'll be paying off this debt for years, possibly decades." She leaned forward. "Meanwhile, your parents are paying nothing. Your sister benefited from stolen money and faces no consequences. And you're the only one suffering. But if I report them, they'll face consequences for their actions, not yours. They chose to open those cards. They chose to charge $24,320. They chose to stop making payments. Every single step was their choice." She slid a business card across the desk. "Sleep on it. Talk to people you trust. But Miss Martinez, I want you to remember something. Protecting people from the consequences of their crimes doesn't make you a good daughter. It makes you an accomplice." We left the legal aid office at 10:47 a.m. Priya and I walked in silence for 3 blocks before she finally said, "What are you thinking?" "I'm thinking I need to talk to someone who isn't emotionally invested in this." "Everyone who knows you is emotionally invested." "Not everyone." I pulled out my phone. Professor Chen. My political theory professor. She gave me her cell number at graduation and said to call if I ever needed anything. You're going to call your professor? She's also a lawyer, constitutional law, and she's seen families implode over politics. Maybe she'll have perspective. I called before I could change my mind. Professor Chen answered on the third ring. Elena? Is everything okay? No, I said. Professor, I need advice. Do you have time to talk? 20 minutes later, we were sitting in Blue State Coffee on Chapel Street. Professor Chen had come straight from her office, still wearing her teaching clothes blazer, slacks, sensible shoes. I told her everything. The hot mic at graduation, the $25 gift card, the credit cards, the spreadsheet, the legal aid appointment. She listened without interrupting. When I finished, she was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, "What does your gut tell you to do?" My gut says I should report them, that they committed a crime and they should face consequences. But they're my parents, and if I do this, I'll lose them, forever. They'll never forgive me. My sister will never forgive me. Half my extended family will probably take their side. Professor Chen sipped her coffee. Elena, I'm going to tell you something I don't tell many students. When I was in law school, my brother stole $15,000 from me, forged my signature on a loan, used the money to pay off gambling debts. I stared at her. I found out because a collections agency called me. My credit was destroyed. I was applying for judicial clerkships. You need perfect credit for those background checks. I almost lost my dream job because of what he did. What did you do? I reported him, filed a police report. He was arrested, took a plea deal. 18 months probation. My mother didn't speak to me for 3 years. 3 years? She said I'd destroyed our family, that I should have handled it privately, that I chose money over blood. Professor Chen's expression was calm, but I heard the edge in her voice. Do you know what I learned? I shook my head. Family that steals from you doesn't love you. They love what you can provide. And when you stop providing it, when you set boundaries, demand accountability, they reveal who they really are. She leaned forward. My mother eventually apologized. My brother never did. But you know what? I sleep at night. I have clean credit. I got that clerkship. I built a career. And I never wondered if someone in my family was secretly ruining my financial future. You don't regret it? Not for a second. She met my eyes. Elena, you are not responsible for protecting people who hurt you, even if they're family, especially if they're family. I left the coffee shop at 12:30. Priya had gone home to give me space. Professor Chen had a faculty meeting. I walked through downtown New Haven alone, my phone heavy in my pocket. I knew what I had to do. I'd known since Saturday night when I saw those credit reports, since I built that spreadsheet, since I cross-referenced every charge with every lie. My parents had made 83 choices to steal from me. Now I had one choice to make. At 1:47 p.m., I walked into the New Haven Police Department on Union Avenue. The lobby was busy, phones ringing, officers moving through. A woman at the front desk looked up. Can I help you? I took a breath. I need to file a police report, I said, for identity theft. The officer at the desk handed me a clipboard with a form. Fill this out, she said. Someone will be with you shortly. I sat in the waiting area and stared at the form. Complaint information? Type of crime, blank line. Date crime occurred, blank line. Location, blank line. Suspect information, blank line. My hand hovered over the paper. Type of crime, identity theft. Date, the 14th of February 2023. Present, suspect information. I wrote my parents' names. Robert Martinez. Christine Martinez. Address, 347 Meadowbrook Lane, West Hartford, CT 06117. The pen felt like it weighed 100 pounds. I was reporting my parents to the police for a crime they'd committed against me, against their own daughter. I finished the form, brought it back to the desk. The officer scanned it quickly, then looked up at me with an expression I couldn't read. "Have a seat," she said. "Detective Rivera will be with you soon." 23 minutes later, a man in his early 40s appeared in the doorway. Detective badge on his belt, tired eyes. He held a coffee cup that said, "World's Okayest Detective." "Miss Martinez?" I stood. "I'm Detective Marcus Rivera. Come on back." His office was small, cluttered, case files stacked on every surface, a computer that looked older than me. He gestured to a chair, and I sat. "So," he said, settling behind his desk, "identity theft. Tell me what happened." I pulled out my phone. My parents opened 3 credit cards in my name without my knowledge or permission. Over 18 months, they charged $24,320. They stopped making payments 3 months ago. I found out on Saturday. Detective Rivera pulled out a notepad. "Saturday, May 28th? "Yes, after my college graduation." "And when were these cards opened?" "February 2023, April 2023, and August 2023. I opened my evidence folder. I have everything documented. Credit reports from Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. Transaction histories from all 3 cards. Timeline spreadsheet showing every charge cross-referenced with evidence. Social media posts proving my parents and sister used the purchased items. He looked up. "You built a case file?" I couldn't sleep. "May I see?" I handed him my phone. He scrolled through the evidence folder in silence. His expression remained neutral, but I saw his jaw tighten when he reached the spreadsheet. He zoomed in on specific charges, clicked through to the Instagram posts. Read the text messages where I'd asked for help. Finally, he set down my phone. "Miss Martinez," he said carefully, "this is one of the most thoroughly documented identity theft cases I've ever seen. Is that good?" "It's excellent. For prosecution." He pulled up a form on his computer. "Let me walk you through what happens next. I'm going to file an official police report. Case number gets assigned. I'll contact the 3 credit card companies, Chase, Discover, Capital One, and request their internal documentation. Account applications, activation records, mailing addresses, IP addresses if the cards were activated online." He typed as he talked. "Based on your evidence, all of that is going to point directly to your parents. Cards were mailed to their address. They had access to your personal information, social security number, date of birth. The charges align with their and your sister's documented activities." "Then what?" "Then I contact your parents. Bring them in for an interview. At that point, they'll either confess or deny. Given the evidence, denial won't help them. And if they confess? The case goes to the prosecutor's office. They review everything and decide whether to file criminal charges. With this dollar amount over $1,000 makes it a felony in Connecticut, and this level of documentation, they'll almost certainly proceed." Quote 8. My mouth felt dry. "What charges?" "Identity theft under Connecticut General Statutes, Section 530129A, Class D felony. Your parents would be arrested, arraigned, offered a plea deal, or they'd go to trial." "What kind of plea deal?" Detective Rivera leaned back in his chair. "That's up to the prosecutor. But typically in cases like this first offense, family member as victim, they'd offer probation, restitution, and community service in exchange for a guilty plea. Your parents would have to pay back the $24,320 plus any additional costs like credit repair. They'd be on probation for 18 months to 2 years. No jail time if they comply with the terms. And if they don't take the plea? Then we go to trial. If convicted, they're looking at up to 5 years in prison and $5,000 in fines, plus the restitution." He paused. "Miss Martinez, I won't lie to you. Most defendants take the plea. Because they're guilty? Because the alternative is worse." He turned back to his computer. "I need to get your full statement. This will take about an hour." You'll need to walk me through everything when you first discovered the fraud, what steps you took to investigate, what evidence you found. Then I'll have you sign the report. Okay. One more thing. He met my eyes. Once you file this report, the process moves forward. I'll investigate. If the evidence supports charges, and it does, the prosecutor will act. You won't be able to stop it. Do you understand? I can't change my mind? You can refuse to cooperate as a witness, but that's rare and it looks bad. The state prosecutes crimes. Once you report it, it's not just between you and your parents anymore. It's a legal matter. My hands were shaking again. Do you need a minute? He asked. I thought about Saturday night, the empty seats at graduation, Mom's voice through the speakers. She's the real success. The $25 gift card. The credit report showing $24,320 in fraudulent charges. I thought about 18 months of working 3 jobs while my parents stole my identity to fund my sister's lifestyle. I thought about Attorney Chen's words. You can protect your parents from consequences, or you can protect yourself from future harm. No, I said. I don't need a minute. Let's do this. For the next 74 minutes, I told Detective Rivera everything. He recorded it, took notes, asked clarifying questions. When did I first notice the anomaly? Saturday, May 28th, 11:47 p.m. What prompted me to check my credit? A note from my parents saying Dad's card had been declined at an ATM. What did I find? 3 credit cards I'd never opened, totaling $24,320 in charges. What did I do next? Downloaded official credit reports from all 3 bureaus. Built a timeline. Cross-referenced charges with social media evidence. Did my parents know I'd discovered the fraud? No. I'd blocked their calls. Hadn't spoken to them since Saturday. Had they ever asked permission to use my information? Never. Had I ever received the physical credit cards? No. They were mailed to my parents' address. Had I ever used these cards? Never. I didn't know they existed until Saturday. Did I authorize any of the charges? No. He asked about my relationship with my parents. I told him about the pattern, the favoritism toward Vanessa, the times I'd asked for help and been told money was tight, the times they'd charged hundreds or thousands to my fraudulent cards that same week. He asked about Vanessa. Did she know the cards were fraudulent? I didn't know, but she'd benefited from them. The furniture, the car repair, the wardrobe, everything. Finally, Detective Rivera printed out the report. 6 pages, every detail documented. Read through this, he said. Make sure everything is accurate. Then, sign at the bottom of each page. I read it twice. It was all there. Every charge, every date, every lie. My parents' names listed as suspects. I signed. Detective Rivera took the report and made copies. He handed me one. This is your case number, 2024 to 7,738. Keep this. You'll need it for disputing the charges with the credit card companies and for filing your FTC identity theft report. What happens now? I contact Chase, Discover, and Capital One today. Request their documentation. That usually takes a week. Once I have everything, I'll bring your parents in for an interview. Will you tell me when you do? I'll keep you updated. He stood, extending his hand. Miss Martinez, I know this wasn't easy, but you did the right thing. I shook his hand. I didn't feel like I'd done the right thing. I felt like I'd just destroyed my family. I walked out of the police station at 3:54 p.m. The sunlight felt too bright, the street noise too loud. Everything felt surreal, like I was watching myself from a distance. I'd just filed a police report against my parents. Case #20 Twafar to 7,738. 6 pages of documentation. 83 charges. $24,320. Federal crime. My phone buzzed. Text from Priya. How did it go? I didn't know how to answer that. Me. I filed the report. It's done. Priya, coming to pick you up. Don't move. She arrived 12 minutes later, pulled up to the curb, got out, and hugged me without saying anything. We stood on the sidewalk outside the police station, and I cried for the third time in 4 days. When I finally stopped, Priya said, "Let's go home. I need to do something first." What? File the FTC report. Dispute the charges with the credit card companies. Detective Rivera said I should do it today while everything is fresh. Priya looked at me carefully. Elena, you just spent an hour reliving your parents' crimes. You can take a break. If I stop moving, I'll fall apart. She understood. Okay, my place. I'll make dinner. You file your reports. By 9:30 p.m., I'd completed everything. FTC Identity Theft Report. Filed online at identitytheft.gov. Official complaint number assigned. PDF generated for my records. Chase dispute. Called the fraud department. Spent 47 minutes on the phone explaining the situation. Emailed copies of the police report and FTC report. They opened a formal investigation. Freeze placed on the account. Discover dispute, same process, 32 minutes. Investigation opened. Account frozen. Capital One dispute, 40 minutes. Investigation opened. Account frozen. All three companies said the same thing. These charges will be investigated. If determined to be fraudulent, they'll be removed from your account and your credit report will be updated. The process takes 30 to 90 days. 30 to 90 days. 3 months of my life in limbo while they investigated what I already knew. My parents had stolen from me. But at least it was documented now. At least I'd done something. Priya found me at her kitchen table at 10:15, surrounded by papers. Police report, credit reports, FTC report printout, dispute confirmation emails. Done? She asked. For now. She sat down across from me. How are you doing? Actually. I don't know. I stared at the stack of papers. I reported my parents to the police. I disputed $24,000 in fraudulent charges. I started an investigation that might end with them being arrested. And I haven't spoken to them since Saturday. Have they tried to contact you? Constantly. I showed her my phone. 43 missed calls since this morning. 18 voicemails. 27 text messages. Have you listened to any of it? No. Do you want to know what they're saying? I thought about it. Not yet. Right now, if I hear their voices, I'll break. And I can't break yet. I need to finish this first. Finish what? Making sure they can't do this to anyone else. Priya was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "You know you're incredibly strong, right?" I don't feel strong. I feel like I'm barely holding it together. That's what strength looks like. Holding it together when everything is falling apart. Wednesday, May 31st. I woke up on Priya's couch again. My phone showed 6:47 a.m. One new email from Detective Rivera. Update on case #2024 to 7,738. I opened it with shaking hands. Miss Martinez, I contacted all 3 credit card companies yesterday afternoon. Chase and Discover have already sent me their preliminary documentation. Capital One will follow by end of week. Initial findings confirm. All 3 cards were mailed to 347 Meadowbrook Lane, West Hartford, CT06-117, your parents' address. All 3 cards were activated via phone from a number registered to Christine Martinez. The majority of charges occurred at merchants near your parents' residence or in locations matching their documented travel, per social media evidence you provided. This is strong corroboration of your statement. I'll be contacting your parents this week to request an interview. I'll inform you before I do. You did the right thing filing this report. Detective Marcus Rivera, New Haven Police Department. I read it 3 times. The cards were mailed to their house. Mom activated them. All the charges matched their location. It was exactly what I'd already known. but seeing it confirmed by official investigation made it real in a new way. My mother had called the credit card companies, activated cards in my name, used them for 18 months. That wasn't a mistake. That was deliberate fraud. Thursday morning, Detective Rivera emailed again. Scheduled interview with your parents for Friday, June 3rd at 2 p.m. We'll update you after. Friday. Tomorrow. In less than 24 hours, my parents would sit in a police station and answer questions about the crimes they'd committed against me. I felt sick. Friday, June 3rd, 1:47 p.m. I was back at Priya's apartment, staring at my phone, unable to focus on anything else. In 13 minutes, my parents would arrive at the police station. Did they know why they'd been called in? Had Detective Rivera told them? Were they scared? Angry? Confused? Did they think I'd done this? At 2:03 p.m., my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Hello? Elena. Mom's voice, shaking. Elena, what have you done? My entire body went cold. How did you get this number? I'd blocked both parents. I'm calling from the police station. They told me you filed a report against us for identity theft. Her voice cracked. How could you? I couldn't speak. We're your parents, she continued. We were going to pay it back. It was temporary. You didn't need to involve the police. You didn't need to. She started crying. You're going to destroy this family. I found my voice. You stole from me. It was a loan. We were borrowing. You didn't ask permission. You forged my information. You opened accounts in my name without telling me. That's not a loan. That's identity theft. Elena, please, if you don't drop this, they're going to arrest us. Do you understand that? Your father and I could go to jail because you committed a crime. We're your parents. You stole $24,000 from me. My voice cracked. For 18 months, while I worked 3 jobs, while I asked you for help and you said you couldn't afford it, you used my name to buy Vanessa furniture and take vacations and fix her car. Silence. Then, quieter. We were going to tell you. When? After you destroyed my credit completely? After I couldn't get an apartment or a car loan or... We made a mistake. You made 83 mistakes, I counted. Elena, Mom's voice hardened. If you go through with this, you'll never be part of this family again. Do you understand that? Your father and I will never forgive you. Vanessa will never forgive you. You'll be alone. I'm already alone, I said quietly. I've been alone for 4 years. You just didn't notice. I hung up. My hands were shaking so hard I dropped the phone. Priya appeared beside me. What happened? My mom called. From the police station. She said if I don't drop the charges, I'll never be part of the family again. Good, Priya said fiercely. You don't need a family that steals from you. She was right. But it still hurt. At 4:32 p.m., Detective Rivera called. Miss Martinez, I interviewed your parents this afternoon. I know. My mom called me from the station. I'm sorry about that. I didn't realize she had access to a phone before we started. He paused. How much did she tell you? Just that I'm destroying the family. Right, he sighed. Well, here's what actually happened. I presented them with the evidence. Your timeline, the credit card documentation, the social media posts. I asked them directly, did you open credit cards in Elena's name without her permission? What did they say? Your mother cried, said it was a misunderstanding, that they'd been planning to tell you, that it was temporary. And my dad? He was silent for most of the interview. Then he said, and I quote, we needed the money. Elena was fine. She had scholarships. I closed my eyes. I asked if you'd given permission. They both said no. I asked if they'd activated the cards. Your mother admitted she had. I asked if they'd made the charges. They both admitted they had. So they confessed. They confessed to everything except calling it a crime. They keep insisting it was a family matter, a loan, a misunderstanding. It's identity theft. Correct, and that's what I told the prosecutor. He paused. Miss Martinez, the case is moving forward. The evidence is overwhelming, and they've admitted to the key facts. The prosecutor will file charges within the next week. Your parents will be formally arrested and arraigned. Arrested. Arraigned. My parents. What happens after arraignment? I asked. They'll be offered a plea deal. Given the circumstances, first offense, family victim, confession, the deal will probably be probation, restitution, and community service. No jail time if they comply. And if they don't take it? We go to trial. But Miss Martinez, trials are public. Evidence becomes public record. Your parents' lawyers will almost certainly advise them to take the plea. When will I know? I'll keep you updated. But Elena? He paused. You should prepare yourself. Your parents are going to blame you for this. So will people who don't know the full story. It's going to get harder before it gets better. I know, I whispered. But I didn't really know. Not yet. Critical branding instruction. Your channel name is Achiever Betrayed, not Payback Ties or any other name. This script will be published on your channel, Achiever Betrayed. Never mention competitor names. Only reference your channel when needed. The arrest happened on Tuesday, June 7th at 8:34 a.m. I wasn't there, but Detective Rivera called me afterward. Your parents were arrested this morning at their home, charged with identity theft under Connecticut General Statutes Section 53A129A Class D felony. They were processed and arraigned at 1 p.m. Both released on $5,000 bond each. Released. So they were home now. Free. Angry. What happens next? I asked. Plea negotiation. The prosecutor offered 18 months probation, full restitution of $24,320, plus $8,000 in credit repair costs, 200 hours community service each, and mandatory financial counseling. They have until June 17th to accept or reject. And if they reject, we set a trial date. But Miss Martinez, their lawyer is going to tell them to take the deal. The evidence is ironclad. After he hung up, I sat on Priya's couch and stared at nothing. My parents had been arrested. Because of me. Because of a police report I filed. I'd done this. My phone buzzed. Text from unknown number. You destroyed us. I hope you're happy. Vanessa. I blocked the number. Over the next week, the messages came in waves. Aunt Ruth, Dad's sister. What you've done to your parents is unconscionable. You should be ashamed. Cousin Daniel, family doesn't call the cops on family. What's wrong with you? Grandmother, Dad's mother. You're no longer welcome in this family. You are dead to us. Uncle Paul, Mom's brother. I heard what happened. Can we talk? I think there's more to this story. That last one surprised me. I called him. Uncle Paul answered immediately. Elena, thank God, I've been trying to reach you. You have? Your parents are telling everyone you're lying, that you made this up because you were mad about graduation. But I know them. If determined to be fraudulent, they'll be removed from your account, and your credit report will be updated. The process takes 30 to 90 days. 30 to 90 days. 3 months of my life in limbo, while they investigated what I already knew. My parents had stolen from me. But at least it was documented now. At least I'd done something. Priya found me at her kitchen table at 10:15, surrounded by papers. Police report. Credit reports. FTC report printout. Dispute confirmation emails. Done? She asked. For now. She sat down across from me. How are you doing? Actually, I don't know. I stared at the stack of papers. I reported my parents to the police. I disputed $24,000 in fraudulent charges. I started an investigation that might end with them being arrested. And I haven't spoken to them since Saturday. Have they tried to contact you? Constantly. I showed her my phone. 43 missed calls since this morning. 18 voicemails. 27 text messages. Have you listened to any of it? No. Do you want to know what they're saying? I thought about it. Not yet. Right now, if I hear their voices, I'll break. And I can't break yet. I need to finish this first. Finish what? Making sure they can't do this to anyone else. Priya was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "You know you're incredibly strong, right?" "I don't feel strong. I feel like I'm barely holding it together." That's what strength looks like, holding it together when everything is falling apart. Wednesday, May 31st. I woke up on Priya's couch again. My phone showed 6:47 a.m. One new email from Detective Rivera. Update on case #2024 to 7,738. I opened it with shaking hands. "Miss Martinez, I contacted all 3 credit card companies yesterday afternoon. Chase and Discover have already sent me their preliminary documentation. Capital One will follow by end of week. Initial findings confirm. All 3 cards were mailed to 347 Meadowbrook Lane, West Hartford, CT 06117, your parents' address. All 3 cards were activated via phone from a number registered to Christine Martinez. The majority of charges occurred at merchants near your parents' residence or in locations matching their documented travel, per social media evidence you provided. This is strong corroboration of your statement. I'll be contacting your parents this week to request an interview. I'll inform you before I do. You did the right thing filing this report. Detective Marcus Rivera, New Haven Police Department." I read it 3 times. The cards were mailed to their house. Mom activated them. All the charges matched their location. It was exactly what I'd already known, but seeing it confirmed by official investigation made it real in a new way. My mother had called the credit card companies, activated cards in my name, used them for 18 months. That wasn't a mistake. That was deliberate fraud. Thursday morning, Detective Rivera emailed again. "Scheduled interview with your parents for Friday, June 3rd at 2 p.m. We'll update you after." Friday. Tomorrow. In less than 24 hours, my parents would sit in a police station and answer questions about the crimes they'd committed against me. I felt sick. Friday, June 3rd, 1:47 p.m. I was back at Priya's apartment, staring at my phone, unable to focus on anything else. In 13 minutes, my parents would arrive at the police station. Did they know why they'd been called in? Had Detective Rivera told them? Were they scared? Angry? Confused? Did they think I'd done this? At 2:03 p.m., my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. But something made me pick up. "Hello? Elena," Mom's voice, shaking. "Elena, what have you done?" My entire body went cold. "How did you get this number?" I'd blocked both parents. "I'm calling from the police station. They told me you filed a report against us for identity theft." Her voice cracked. "How could you?" I couldn't speak. "We're your parents," she continued. "We were going to pay it back. It was temporary. You didn't need to involve the police. You didn't need to." She started crying. "You're going to destroy this family." I found my voice. "You stole from me." "It was a loan. We were borrowing." "You didn't ask permission. You forged my information. You opened accounts in my name without telling me." "That's not a loan. That's identity theft." "Elena, please. If you don't drop this, they're going to arrest us. Do you understand that? Your father and I could go to jail because you committed a crime. We're your parents. You stole $24,000 from me." My voice cracked. "For 18 months. While I worked 3 jobs. While I asked you for help and you said you couldn't afford it. You used my name to buy Vanessa furniture and take vacations and fix her car." Silence. Then quieter. "We were going to tell you." "When?" "After you destroyed my credit completely." After I couldn't get an apartment or a car loan or we made a mistake. You made 83 mistakes, I counted. Elena, Mom's voice hardened. If you go through with this, you'll never be part of this family again. Do you understand that? Your father and I will never forgive you. Vanessa will never forgive you. You'll be alone. I'm already alone, I said quietly. I've been alone for 4 years. You just didn't notice. I hung up. My hands were shaking so hard I dropped the phone. Priya appeared beside me. What happened? My mom called. From the police station. She said if I don't drop the charges, I'll never be part of the family again. Good, Priya said fiercely. You don't need a family that steals from you. She was right. But it still hurt. At 4:32 p.m., Detective Rivera called. Miss Martinez, I interviewed your parents this afternoon. I know. My mom called me from the station. I'm sorry about that. I didn't realize she had access to a phone before we started. He paused. How much did she tell you? Just that I'm destroying the family. Right. He sighed. Well, here's what actually happened. I presented them with the evidence. Your timeline, the credit card documentation, the social media posts. I asked them directly, did you open credit cards in Elena's name without her permission? What did they say? Your mother cried. Said it was a misunderstanding, that they'd been planning to tell you, that it was temporary. And my dad? He was silent for most of the interview. Then he said, and I quote, we needed the money. Elena was fine. She had scholarships. I closed my eyes. I asked if you'd given permission. They both said no. I asked if they'd activated the cards. Your mother admitted she had. I asked if they'd made the charges. They both admitted they had. So, they confessed. They confessed to everything except calling it a crime. They keep insisting it was a family matter. A loan. A misunderstanding. It's identity theft. Correct, and that's what I told the prosecutor. He paused. Miss Martinez, the case is moving forward. The evidence is overwhelming, and they've admitted to the key facts. The prosecutor will file charges within the next week. Your parents will be formally arrested and arraigned. Arrested. Arraigned. My parents? What happens after arraignment? I asked. They'll be offered a plea deal. Given the circumstances, first offense, family victim, confession, the deal will probably be probation, restitution, and community service. No jail time if they comply. And if they don't take it? We go to trial. But Miss Martinez, trials are public. Evidence becomes public record. Your parents' lawyers will almost certainly advise them to take the plea. When will I know? I'll keep you updated, but Elena? He paused. You should prepare yourself. Your parents are going to blame you for this. So will people who don't know the full story. It's going to get harder before it gets better. I know, I whispered. But I didn't really know. Not yet. Critical branding instruction. Your channel name is Achiever Betrayed, not Payback Ties or any other name. This script will be published on your channel, Achiever Betrayed. Never mention competitor names. Only reference your channel when needed. The arrest happened on Tuesday, June 7th at 8:34 a.m. I wasn't there, but Detective Rivera called me afterward. Your parents were arrested this morning at their home, charged with identity theft under Connecticut General Statutes, Section 53129A, Class D felony. They were processed and arraigned at 1 p.m. Both released on $5,000 bond each. Released. So they were home now, free, angry. What happens next? I asked. Plea negotiation. The prosecutor offered 18 months probation, full restitution of $24,320, plus $8,000 in credit repair costs, 200 hours community service each, and mandatory financial counseling. They have until June 17th to accept or reject. And if they reject? We set a trial date, but Miss Martinez, Their lawyer is going to tell them to take the deal. The evidence is ironclad. After he hung up, I sat on Priya's couch and stared at nothing. My parents had been arrested. Because of me. Because of a police report I filed. I'd done this. My phone buzzed. Text from unknown number. You destroyed us. I hope you're happy. V. Vanessa. I blocked the number. Over the next week, the messages came in waves. Aunt Ruth, Dad's sister. What you've done to your parents is unconscionable. You should be ashamed. Cousin Daniel. Family doesn't call the cops on family. What's wrong with you? Grandmother, Dad's mother. You're no longer welcome in this family. You are dead to us. Uncle Paul, Mom's brother. I heard what happened. Can we talk? I think there's more to this story. That last one surprised me. I called him. Uncle Paul answered immediately. Elena, thank God. I've been trying to reach you. You have? Your parents are telling everyone you're lying. That you made this up because you were mad about graduation. But I know them. I know how they've treated you versus Vanessa. So tell me the truth. What really happened? I told him everything. The credit cards, the timeline, the charges, the evidence, the police report. When I finished, Uncle Paul was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, Jesus Christ. Elena, I'm so sorry. I had no idea it was this bad. You believe me? Of course I believe you. Your mother's been borrowing money from people for years. She took $3,000 from me last year, said it was for car repairs. Never paid it back. I didn't think she'd steal from her own daughter. She did. What can I do? He asked. How can I help? I hadn't expected that question. I don't know, I admitted. Right now, I'm just trying to survive this. Well, you're not alone. Maria, my daughter, your cousin, she wants to talk to you too. She said something similar happened to her with her mom. Different circumstances, but she gets it. Really? Yeah. Listen, we're having people over for the 4th of July. Small thing. Just the people in this family who aren't insane. You should come. Bring your friend Priya. I don't know if Elena, you need to know that some of us are on your side. Not everyone believes their bullshit. That meant more than I could say. June 17th arrived. Plea deal deadline. At 11:47 a.m., Detective Rivera called. They took the plea. I exhaled. Both of them. Both. Your father wanted to fight it, but his lawyer convinced him. The evidence was too strong. Trial would have been a disaster for them. So what now? Formal sentencing hearing on July 15th. Judge will officially accept the plea, order the restitution schedule, and set the probation terms. You can attend if you want. As the victim, you have the right to make a statement. A victim impact statement. Standing in front of a judge, my parents, their lawyer, and whoever else showed up, and explaining how their crimes had affected me. I'll be there, I said. But before the sentencing hearing, there was something else. Yale's graduate awards ceremony. May 31st had been my college graduation, the one where Mom's voice came through the speakers. But June 20th was the graduate awards ceremony, where they gave out academic honors to the top students in each department. I'd won the Political Science Department's Academic Excellence Award. Summa cum laude, highest honors on my thesis. The award came with a crystal plaque and a $2,000 scholarship toward graduate school. Dean Michaels had emailed me the invitation 3 weeks ago, before everything exploded. The ceremony is at 2 p.m. in Woolsey Hall. You'll receive your award on stage. You may give a brief acceptance speech if you wish 30 to 60 seconds. 30 to 60 seconds on stage. With a microphone. In front of 300 people. Faculty. Students. Family members. An idea started forming. I called Priya on June 15th. The awards ceremony is in 5 days, I said. I know. I'm coming. I already have the date blocked off. I want to do something. Like what? I want to tell the truth, publicly, at the ceremony. Silence on the other end. Then, Elena, are you sure? That's that's a nuclear option. My parents destroyed my credit to fund my sister's life. They got arrested for it. They're going to walk away with probation. Meanwhile, I'm the villain in half my family's eyes because I reported them. Nobody knows the real story except the people I've told directly. So you want to tell everyone. I want to tell the truth, on record, in front of witnesses. I paused. I want people to know why I did it. I want my parents to sit there and hear exactly what they did. I want it documented. What if they don't come to the ceremony? They'll come, I said. Mom already RSVP'd. She emailed the department coordinator last week saying the whole family would be there. She's pretending everything is normal. Jesus. I know. Priya was quiet again. Then, okay, if you're going to do this, we need to plan it. You get one shot, 30 to 60 seconds. Every word has to count. Help me? Always. Over the next 3 days, Priya and I wrote and rewrote my speech. Version 1 was too emotional, too raw. I broke down crying just reading it aloud. Version 2 was too clinical, too detached. It sounded like a legal brief. Version 3 was too long, 90 seconds. We cut it down. Version 4 was too angry. Priya said, "You'll sound unstable. Stick to facts." Version 5 was too soft. I said, "This sounds like I'm apologizing to them." Finally, on June 19th, the night before the ceremony, we had it. 63 seconds. Facts, timeline, dollar amounts, impact. No apologies, no emotion, just truth. I practiced it 17 times. Until my voice didn't shake. Until I could say the words without crying. "You're going to destroy them," Priya said after the 17th run-through. "Good," I replied. June 20th started at 5:52 a.m. I woke up on Priya's couch with my heart already racing. Today was the day. In 8 hours, I would stand on stage in Woolsey Hall and tell 300 people that my parents had committed identity theft against me. I couldn't eat breakfast. Priya made me toast anyway. I managed 3 bites. At 10 a.m., I showered. Put on the navy dress I'd worn to my graduation 3 weeks ago. Simple, professional, appropriate. Priya helped me with my hair. Nothing fancy, just neat. "You don't want them to focus on your appearance," she said. "You want them to focus on your words." At 11:30, my phone buzzed. "Text from Mom. See you at 2. So excited to see you get your award. We're all so proud." She, Dad, and Vanessa were all coming. Perfect. I typed back, "See you there." Priya read over my shoulder. "You're really going through with this?" "Yes. They're going to hate you after this. You know that, right?" "They already hate me. They just haven't admitted it yet." At 12:30, we left for campus. The drive took 11 minutes. We parked behind Woolsey Hall. Other students were arriving. Families taking photos. Everyone smiling. I felt like I was walking toward an execution. My execution or theirs. I wasn't sure yet. We entered through the side door. The hall was already filling up. Rows of chairs, stage at the front, podium with microphone. Dean Michaels organizing papers at a side table. She saw me and waved. "Elena, there you are. You'll be the 5th award presented. After chemistry, after English, after history, after economics, then you. When I call your name, come up from stage left. Accept the plaque. Then you can say a few words if you'd like." "I'd like to," I said. "Wonderful. Keep it brief. 30 to 60 seconds. Thank the department. Mention your thesis if you want. Thank your family." She smiled. Standard stuff. Standard stuff. If only. At 1:45, I took my seat on stage. 6 other award recipients sat nearby. We were arranged in order of presentation. I was 5th in line. From my seat, I could see the entire audience. 310 people, according to the program. Faculty in the first few rows. Students scattered throughout. Families filling in the back sections. Row C, seats 8 to 10. That's where I saw them. Dad, Mom, Vanessa. Dad wore a suit. The same one from my graduation. Mom had her hair done. Vanessa was on her phone, not paying attention yet. They looked normal, comfortable, like they belonged there. Like they hadn't been arrested 13 days ago. Like they hadn't stolen $24,320 from their daughter. Mom caught my eye and waved. Smiled. I didn't wave back. At 2:03 p.m., Dean Michaels stepped to the podium. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Yale's Graduate Awards ceremony. Today we celebrate the exceptional achievements of our students across multiple departments. Applause. My hands were shaking. I folded them in my lap. These students represent the best of Yale's academic excellence. Their dedication, brilliance, and hard work have earned them the highest honors we can bestow. More applause. She began announcing the first award. Chemistry. A student named Marcus Chen stood up, walked to the podium, accepted his plaque, gave a 30-second thank you speech. His parents cried happy tears. Second award. English, student named Rebecca Walsh, similar process. Her whole family stood up clapping. Third award. History. Fourth award. Economics. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it. Then Dean Michaels looked at her notes. Our fifth award is the Political Science Department's Academic Excellence Award. This honor recognizes a student who has demonstrated exceptional scholarly achievement, graduating summa cum laude with highest honors on their senior thesis. She looked up. This year's recipient is Elena Martinez. I stood. My legs felt like water, but they held. I walked to the podium from stage left, each step measured, deliberate. Dean Michaels handed me the crystal plaque. It was heavier than I expected. She gestured to the microphone. Would you like to say a few words? Yes, I said. Thank you. She stepped aside. I was alone at the podium now. 310 people looking at me. My parents in row C. Dad recording on his phone, Mom beaming, Vanessa finally looking up from her screen. I set the plaque down on the podium, adjusted the microphone, took a breath. Thank you, Dean Michaels. Thank you to everyone here celebrating these achievements today. Standard opening, normal tone. A few people smiled. I paused. This was it. No going back after this. I need to share something that's been weighing on me, I continued. Something that affects every person in this room who believes in integrity. The smiles faded. Confusion rippled through the audience. Mom's expression shifted. From pride to concern. 3 weeks ago, at my graduation ceremony in this very hall, my mother said to my father, not realizing his microphone was still on, "She's the real success," referring to my sister, not me. Dead silence. 310 people went completely still. In row C, Mom's face went white. I was confused by that comment, I said. My voice was steady now, calm. So I investigated. And what I discovered is that my parents committed identity theft against me. Someone in row E gasped audibly. Over the past 18 months, they opened 3 credit cards in my name without my knowledge or consent. Dad's phone dropped. I heard it hit the floor even from the stage. They stole $24,320 from me. While I worked 3 jobs and took out federal loans, they used my identity to fund my sister's lifestyle. I reached into my dress pocket, pulled out 3 folded papers. I have the credit card statements. I held them up. Chase, $8,200. Discover, $4,780. Capital One, $11,340. Whispers erupted, people leaning toward each other, phones coming out. The first card was opened in February 2023, during my junior year. The charges include furniture for my sister's apartment, my parents' vacation to Napa Valley, and my sister's car repairs. In row C, Mom was trying to stand. Dad grabbed her arm, pulled her back down. Vanessa had gone completely still. On Monday, May 30th, I filed a police report with the New Haven Police Department. Case number 2,024 to 7,738. More gasps. Someone said, "Oh my God," loudly enough for the microphone to catch. My attorney confirmed this is identity theft under Connecticut law, a Class D felony. Mom stood up fully now. This isn't. My parents were arrested on June 7th, I continued, voice rising slightly to be heard over her. They were charged, arraigned, and released on bond. On June 17th, they accepted a plea deal. 18 months probation. $32,320 in restitution. 200 hours of community service each. Elena, stop! Mom's voice cracked. She was crying now. I didn't stop. While they were charging $2,400 at West Elm for my sister's couch, I was working 30 hours a week at the library, making $12 an hour. Dad finally found his voice. Sit down. This is inappropriate. While they booked a $1,850 hotel in Napa Valley, I was eating ramen for dinner. Elena! Mom shouted. I looked directly at her, at both of them. You told me money was tight. You told me you couldn't help with textbooks. You told me to be understanding. My voice cracked slightly, but I pushed through. But you had money. You just chose to use my name, my credit, my future, instead of telling my sister no. The audience was in chaos now. People standing, conversations erupting, faculty looking shocked, students recording on their phones. Professor Chen, my thesis advisor, was visible in row B, her hand over her mouth, eyes wide. I didn't post anything online, I said, voice steady again. I filed a legal complaint through the proper channels. I disputed the fraudulent charges. I protected my financial future. Mom was sobbing now. Dad was trying to pull her toward the aisle. Vanessa sat frozen, face crimson. But I want everyone here to know the truth, I said. Identity theft is a crime. Financial abuse is abuse. It doesn't matter if the criminal is your parent. It doesn't matter if they say it was a loan or a misunderstanding or temporary. 3 people in the audience started clapping. Then 5. Then 10. They destroyed my credit to avoid disappointing my sister. They committed a felony because they couldn't bear to let her struggle the way they let me struggle. More applause now, scattered throughout the hall. I'm not here for revenge, I said. I'm here for accountability. My parents admitted what they did. A judge confirmed it. The law is holding them responsible. I picked up the plaque. This award represents 4 years of work, 3 jobs, $62,000 in loans. And somehow, despite my own parents sabotaging me, I graduated summa cum laude from Yale. I looked at my parents one more time. Mom was clinging to Dad. Both of them were trying to leave, but people were blocking the aisle now, wanting to see, to hear, to witness. I hope the West Elm couch was worth 5 years of probation, I said quietly into the microphone. Then I walked off stage. The hall erupted. Half the audience stood, some applauding, some arguing, some shocked into silence. Dean Michaels rushed toward me backstage. Elena, are you? I'm okay, I said. I'm sorry for disrupting the ceremony. Don't apologize. She stopped, shook her head. That took incredible courage. Priya appeared from the audience, climbing the stage steps. She wrapped me in a hug. You did it! Everyone knows now. Through the curtain, I could see my parents finally making it to the aisle. Dad was red-faced, furious. Mom was still crying. Vanessa followed behind them, head down, refusing to look at anyone. People moved out of their way, but I saw the expressions. Disgust, anger. Someone booed. A woman in row D said loudly enough for everyone to hear. You should be ashamed. She's your daughter. Another voice. $24,000? From your own child? My parents kept walking. Faster now. Practically running for the exit. The doors slammed behind them. They were gone. For the next 20 minutes, chaos reigned. Faculty surrounded me. Professor Chen hugged me so hard I couldn't breathe. I had no idea. Elena, I'm so sorry. If I'd known, you couldn't have done anything, I said. I could have been there for you more, I should have noticed. Other professors approached, offering support, asking if I needed anything, recommendations for graduate school, references for jobs, whatever I needed. Students came up too, some I knew, some I didn't. My parents did something similar, one girl said. I never reported it. I wish I had your courage. My uncle stole my college fund, another student said. Everyone told me to keep quiet. You didn't. Thank you. Dean Michaels found me again. Elena, I need to tell you something. 3 people have already asked for recordings of your speech. One of them was a journalist. My stomach dropped. A journalist? Yale Daily News, campus paper. They were covering the ceremony. She paused. Your story is going to get out. You should prepare for that. I know, I said. But I didn't really know. Not yet. By 4:30 p.m., I was back at Priya's apartment. Exhausted, shaking, but somehow lighter. I'd done it. I'd told the truth. In front of 300 people. With my parents sitting 15 feet away. No more secrets. No more protecting them. Everyone knew now. My phone buzzed. Text from Uncle Paul. I just heard what happened at your ceremony. Elena, I'm so proud of you. You did the right thing. Another text. Cousin Maria. My mom just called me freaking out. She said you publicly humiliated your parents. I told her they publicly stole from you. I'm on your side. Always. Another. Professor Chen. If you need anything, and I mean anything, you call me. You're not alone in this. But there were other texts too. Aunt Ruth, what you did today was cruel and vindictive. You've destroyed your parents' reputation. I hope you're proud of yourself. Cousin Daniel, you're a disgrace to this family. Grandmother, you are dead to me. I blocked them all. Then I opened my laptop and searched Yale Awards Ceremony Elena Martinez. Nothing yet. But it would come. Dean Michaels was right. The story was getting out. The Yale Daily News article posted at 11:47 p.m. Student exposes parents' identity theft at awards ceremony. By Jennifer Torres. Yale University. In a stunning moment at Wednesday's graduate awards ceremony, political science major Elena Martinez used her acceptance speech to publicly accuse her parents of identity theft, revealing they had been arrested and charged with opening fraudulent credit cards in her name. Martinez, who graduated summa cum laude last month with a full scholarship to Yale Law School, told an audience of over 300 people that her parents had stolen $24,320 from her over 18 months while she worked 3 jobs to pay for college. They destroyed my credit to avoid disappointing my sister, Martinez said from the podium, holding up credit card statements as evidence. They committed a felony because they couldn't bear to let her struggle the way they let me struggle. According to Martinez, her parents, Robert and Christine Martinez of West Hartford, were arrested on June 7th and charged with identity theft under Connecticut General Statutes, Section 5-3, a 129A, a Class D felony. Court records confirm both parents accepted a plea deal on June 17th, agreeing to 18 months probation and full restitution. The Martinez family declined to comment. Several students who attended the ceremony described the moment as shocking and incredibly brave. You could hear a pin drop, said senior Amy Richardson. Then people started clapping. It was clear she was telling the truth. Professor Margaret Chen, Martinez's thesis advisor, called her one of the most dedicated students I've taught in 20 years. What happened to Elena is unconscionable, Chen said. The fact that she had the courage to speak publicly about financial abuse from family members is extraordinary. Martinez's speech comes amid growing awareness of financial abuse within families. According to the Federal Trade Commission, family members are responsible for approximately 30% of all identity theft cases, though most go unreported due to fear of retaliation or family pressure. When asked about her decision to speak publicly, Martinez told reporters. Identity theft is a crime, regardless of who commits it. I wanted people to know that victims don't have to stay silent to protect people who hurt them. The article had been shared 47 times in the first hour. By 1 a.m., 340 shares. By 2 a.m., 1,200 shares. By 6 a.m., 4,800 shares. The story had escaped Yale's campus. I woke up Thursday morning to my phone exploding. 73 notifications. Text from Uncle Paul. The Daily News article is everywhere. Your parents are livid. Your mom called me crying. I told her she did this to herself. Text from Cousin Maria. You're all over Twitter. People are calling you a hero. Text from Priya. Check your email. Now. I opened my email. 47 new messages. Subject. Your story. From name. Survivor of family fraud. I reported my mother for the same thing. No one believed me. Thank you for speaking up. Subject. Thank you. From name. College student. My dad opened credit cards in my name. I'm filing a police report tomorrow because of you. Subject. Interview request from Connecticut Public Radio. We'd like to speak with you about financial abuse in families. Subject. Podcast invitation from The Financial Feminist. Your story needs to be heard by our audience. Subject. Legal consultation from Identity Theft Resource Center. We help victims navigate the aftermath. Pro bono services. I scrolled through them all. Request after request. Support after support. Strangers sharing their own stories. Then I found the email that changed everything. Subject. Video from ceremony. From Professor Margaret Chen. Elena. A student recorded your entire speech and posted it to TikTok last night. As of this morning, it has 890,000 views. I'm attaching the link in case you haven't seen it. Be prepared. This is going viral. I'm here if you need anything. Professor Chen. I clicked the link. The video was 2 minutes long. Started with Dean Michaels announcing my name. Showed me walking to the podium. Then my entire speech. Every word, every pause, every moment. The camera caught my parents' reactions. Mom's face going white, Dad dropping his phone, Vanessa frozen. It caught the audience gasping, people pulling out phones, the scattered applause growing louder. It caught me holding up the credit card statements. It caught my final line. I hope the West Elm couch was worth 5 years of probation. The video ended with me walking off stage to massive applause. 890,000 views. 43,000 comments. I started reading. This is the most savage thing I've ever seen. Her parents stole from her and she's the villain? Make it make sense. $24,000. While she worked 3 jobs, I'm furious for her. The way her mom tried to stop her and she just kept going. Icon. Financial abuse is abuse, period. My parents did this to me too. I never had the courage to report them. She's my hero. Yale Law is lucky to have her. She's going to be an incredible lawyer. The sister sitting there, realizing her entire lifestyle was funded by stolen money. I hope the West Elm couch was worth probation, is the coldest mic drop of all time. I kept scrolling. 890,000 views became 1.2 million by noon. By 2 p.m., 2.8 million. By 5 p.m., 4.1 million. The video was everywhere. TikTok, Twitter, Reddit, Instagram, Facebook. Someone had created a hashtag, #JusticeForElena. Someone else made a GoFundMe, help Elena Martinez with credit repair costs. I hadn't asked for it, but strangers were donating. By the end of the day, $18,000 raised. Friday morning, June 24th. The video had 7 million views. My story was on CNN, on NBC, on BBC. International news. A girl from Yale who exposed her parents' identity theft during an awards ceremony. My phone wouldn't stop ringing. Journalists, podcasters, documentary filmmakers, everyone wanted an interview. I ignored most of them, but I did answer when Professor Chen called. Elena, are you okay? This has gotten huge. I'm okay, I said, overwhelmed. But okay. I want you to know that the political science department stands behind you. Fully. We've received some, let's call them concerned messages from people who think you were inappropriate. We've responded to every single one saying you had every right to tell your story. Thank you. Also, Yale Law called. They saw the news. They want you to know your admission and scholarship are unaffected. In fact, the Dean of Admissions said, and I quote, "We're proud to have someone with such integrity joining our incoming class." I started crying. Elena? I was scared they'd rescind my admission, that I'd lose everything because I spoke up. You didn't lose anything. You gained respect. You gained allies. And you might have helped dozens of other victims find their voice. She was right. My inbox was full of messages from people who'd experienced the same thing, who'd stayed silent, who were now filing police reports because I'd shown them it was possible. Saturday, June 25th. 9 million views. The GoFundMe was at $31,000. My parents' names were public now. People had found their Facebook profiles, their employer information, their address. I hadn't wanted that. I'd wanted accountability, not mob justice. But I couldn't control it anymore. The story was bigger than me now. Sunday morning, Detective Rivera called. Miss Martinez, I wanted to give you a heads up. Your parents' sentencing hearing is scheduled for July 15th at 9 a.m. You can still make a victim impact statement if you want. Do I need to? I asked. Everyone's already heard what I have to say. That was public awareness. This is for the legal record. It's your chance to tell the judge directly how their crime affected you. I'll be there, I said. Because he was right. The viral video was for the world. The victim impact statement was for the court. And I was going to make sure my parents heard one more time, on legal record, exactly what they'd done. Critical branding instruction. Your channel name is Achiever Betrayed, not Payback Ties or any other name. This script will be published on your channel, Achiever Betrayed. Never mention competitor names. Only reference your channel when needed. The weeks between the viral video and the sentencing hearing felt like living in two different worlds. In one world, I was a hero. Strangers on the internet called me brave. Survivors of financial abuse sent me messages thanking me for speaking up. 3 different law schools reached out to say they'd be honored if I reconsidered my Yale acceptance and chose them instead. The GoFundMe hit $42,000 more than enough to cover credit repair costs and pay down my student loans. In the other world, I was a pariah. My grandmother sent a letter, actual paper, actual stamp, telling me I was dead to her. Aunt Ruth posted on Facebook that I was a vindictive liar who'd fabricated everything for attention. Cousins I'd grown up with blocked me on social media. A few family members who I barely knew sent messages saying I should have handled it privately and that I'd destroyed my parents. Priya kept reminding me. The people who are mad are either enablers or they're guilty of the same thing and feel called out. She was probably right, but it still hurt. July 15th arrived with humid Connecticut summer heat. The sentencing hearing was scheduled for 9 a.m. at New Haven Superior Court. I woke up at 5:30 a.m. on Priya's couch. I'd been staying with her for 6 weeks now, too afraid to be alone in case my parents tried to confront me in person. You ready? Priya asked, handing me coffee. No, I said honestly, but I'm going anyway. She'd taken the day off work to come with me. Professor Chen had also offered to attend. And Uncle Paul, Mom's brother, the only extended family member who'd unequivocally supported me, said he'd be there too. You're not going into that courtroom alone, he'd said on the phone last week. Your parents have each other. You deserve to have people too. At 7:45 a.m., we left for the courthouse. New Haven Superior Court was an imposing stone building downtown, security checkpoint at the entrance, metal detectors, guards checking IDs. We made it through security at 8:23 a.m. Courtroom 4C. Judge Patricia Holloway presiding. The hallway outside the courtroom was empty, except for one person. Detective Rivera. He stood when he saw me. "Miss Martinez, how are you holding up?" "I've been better," I admitted. "Understandable. This is the hard part." He glanced toward the courtroom doors. "Your parents are already inside with their attorney. The prosecutor is ready. Judge Holloway is fair but firm. She's not going to go easy on them just because they're first-time offenders." "Good," I said quietly. "You're still planning to give a victim impact statement?" "Yes." He nodded. "The judge will call you up after she reviews the plea agreement and before she issues sentencing. You'll have up to 5 minutes. Say whatever you need to say." 5 minutes. 300 seconds. To summarize 18 months of betrayal. At 8:55 a.m., we entered the courtroom. It was smaller than I expected. Wood-paneled walls. Rows of benches. The judge's bench elevated at the front. Prosecutor's table on the left. Defense table on the right. My parents sat at the defense table with their lawyer, a middle-aged man in an expensive suit who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. Dad wore a suit. The same one from my graduation. From the awards ceremony. His jaw was tight. He stared straight ahead. Mom wore a conservative dress. Her hair was done. Makeup careful. She looked smaller somehow. Older. Neither of them turned around when I walked in. Vanessa wasn't there. Uncle Paul, Professor Chen, and Priya sat with me in the second row behind the prosecutor's table. The victim sighed. At exactly 9 a.m., the bailiff stood. "All rise, the Honorable Judge Patricia Holloway presiding." We stood. Judge Holloway entered. She was in her late 50s, black, with sharp eyes and an expression that suggested she'd seen everything and had patience for nothing. "Be seated," she said. We sat. She opened the file in front of her. "We're here for sentencing in the matter of State of Connecticut versus Robert Martinez and Christine Martinez. Case number 2024 to 7738. Both defendants have entered guilty pleas to identity theft under Connecticut General Statutes, Section 53A129A, Class D felony." Her voice was measured, clinical. "Counsel, are both defendants present?" The defense attorney stood. "Yes, Your Honor, both Mr. and Mrs. Martinez are present." "And the state?" The prosecutor, a woman in her 30s named Sarah Goodwin, stood. "Present, Your Honor. The state is prepared to proceed." Judge Holloway reviewed the documents. "I've read the plea agreement. 18 months supervised probation. Restitution of $24,320 for the fraudulent charges, plus $8,000 for credit repair services, for a total of $32,320, 200 hours of community service each. Mandatory financial counseling. No contact with the victim except through legal channels regarding restitution payments." She looked up. "Before I accept this plea and issue formal sentencing, I want to hear from the victim. Miss Elena Martinez, are you present?" I stood. "Yes, Your Honor." "Would you like to make a statement?" "Yes, Your Honor." "Come forward." I walked to the front of the courtroom. There was a small podium between the prosecutor's table and the judge's bench. A microphone. I stood behind it. To my left, the prosecutor, watching me with an encouraging expression. To my right, my parents and their lawyer. Mom was crying already. Dad still wouldn't look at me. Directly ahead, Judge Holloway, waiting. I pulled out the folded paper from my pocket. I'd written this last night, practiced it 3 times, then decided I wouldn't read it word for word. I'd speak from the heart. But having it there helped. I took a breath. "Your Honor, my name is Elena Martinez. I'm 22 years old. I graduated from Yale University on May 28, 2024, summa cum laude. Full scholarship to Yale Law School starting this fall." My voice was steady, calm. "I'm here because my parents Robert and Christine Martinez committed identity theft against me. They opened 3 credit cards in my name. They charged $24,000, $320 over 18 months. They destroyed my credit score from 750 to 580. They did this while I worked 3 jobs to pay for college, while I ate ramen for dinner, while I asked them for help and they told me they couldn't afford it. I looked at them. Dad was still staring at the table. Mom was sobbing quietly into a tissue. I want the court to understand something, I continued. This wasn't a mistake. This wasn't a one-time lapse in judgment. This was systematic, deliberate fraud that lasted a year and a half. I pulled out the folded paper and opened it. The 14th of February 2023. They opened the first card. Chase Freedom Unlimited. $9,000 limit. 3 days after my sister signed a lease on an expensive apartment. The 3rd of April 2023. They opened the second card. Discover. $5,000 limit. 2 days before they took a vacation to Florida. The 12th of August 2023. They opened the third card. Capital One. $12,000 limit. 1 week after I called my mother asking for help with a textbook and she told me money was so tight. I looked up at the judge. Every time I needed help, they said no. Every time my sister wanted something, they used my stolen credit to say yes. Judge Holloway was watching me intently. The financial damage is documented, I said, but there's damage that can't be measured in dollars. I spent 4 years at Yale, believing my parents were proud of me but couldn't afford to help. I felt guilty for asking. I worked myself to exhaustion. I went to bed hungry sometimes because I couldn't afford both rent and food. My voice cracked slightly. And the entire time, they had money. They just didn't want to spend their money, so they spent mine, without asking, without telling me, without caring what it would do to my future. Mom's crying got louder. The defense attorney put a hand on her shoulder. When I discovered what they'd done, I gave them a chance to explain. My mother called me from the police station and told me I was destroying the family. She said if I didn't drop the charges, I'd never be part of the family again. I paused. She was right. I'm not part of that family anymore. Because family doesn't steal from you. Family doesn't commit crimes against you and then blame you for reporting it. I looked at my parents one more time. Dad finally looked up, met my eyes. There was no apology there, just anger. Your Honor, I'm not asking for the maximum sentence. I'm asking for accountability. I'm asking that my parents understand legally, officially, that what they did was a crime, that they face real consequences, that they pay back every dollar they stole. I folded the paper. I'm also asking for the no-contact order to remain in place. I don't want them contacting me except through legal channels for restitution. I don't trust them. I don't forgive them. And I don't want them in my life. Judge Holloway nodded slowly. Is there anything else you'd like to say, Miss Martinez? I thought about it. Yes, Your Honor, one more thing. I looked at my parents. You told me I was mature, independent, that I didn't need help like Vanessa did. You used those words to justify neglecting me while spoiling her. But the truth is, I was independent because you forced me to be. I was mature because I had no choice. My voice got quieter. I deserved parents who celebrated my achievements, who helped me when I struggled, who didn't steal from me to fund my sister's life. I stepped back from the podium. I deserved better, and now the law agrees with me. Judge Holloway let the silence sit for a moment. Then she said, "Thank you, Miss Martinez. You may be seated." I walked back to my seat. Uncle Paul squeezed my shoulder. Priya grabbed my hand. Judge Holloway turned to my parents. "Mr. Martinez, Mrs. Martinez, stand, please." They stood. Mom was still crying. Dad's jaw was clenched so tight I thought it might break. "I've reviewed the evidence in this case," Judge Holloway said. "I've read the police reports, the credit card documentation, the timeline your daughter created. I've read her victim impact statement, both the one she just gave and the written one submitted to the court." She paused. "I've also read the letters submitted on your behalf. From your attorney, from your employer, from members of your church. They all say you're good people who made a mistake, that you deserve leniency because you have no prior criminal record." Mom looked hopeful. But here's what I see, Judge Holloway continued, and her tone sharpened. I see two adults who had access to their daughter's personal information and used it to commit fraud. I see two parents who chose to steal from their own child rather than say no to their other child. I see 18 months of deliberate, systematic theft, 83 separate transactions, $24,320 stolen. She leaned forward. This wasn't a mistake, Mr. and Mrs. Martinez. This was a choice. You made that choice 83 times. Dad's face was red. The plea agreement before me is fair. Some might say it's generous. Your daughter could have pushed for jail time. The prosecutor could have demanded it. But they didn't. So I'm accepting the plea as written. She picked up her gavel. Robert Martinez and Christine Martinez, you are each sentenced to 18 months supervised probation. You will each complete 200 hours of community service. You will attend mandatory financial counseling 1 session per month for the duration of your probation. You will pay restitution in the amount of $32,320 to be paid in monthly installments of $600 until the balance is paid in full. That's 54 months, 4.5 years. She paused. If you miss a single payment, your probation will be revoked and you will serve the maximum sentence of 5 years in prison. If you violate the no-contact order with your daughter, you will be arrested immediately. If you fail to complete your community service or counseling, you will face additional charges. Do you understand? Yes, Your Honor, the defense attorney said quickly. I want to hear it from them, Judge Holloway said. Dad spoke first. Yes, Your Honor, I understand. Mom's voice was barely audible. Yes, Your Honor. Good. Judge Holloway picked up her gavel. This court is adjourned. The gavel hit the bench. Crack. It was over. My parents were led out of the courtroom by their attorney. Neither of them looked at me. Mom was still crying. Dad's shoulders were rigid with anger. They disappeared through the side door. I sat in the courtroom for another 3 minutes, just breathing. You did it, Priya whispered. It's official. They're on record. They have to pay you back. Uncle Paul leaned forward from the row behind us. Elena, I'm so proud of you. That statement was powerful. Professor Chen nodded. You held them accountable, legally, publicly, completely. Detective Rivera approached. Miss Martinez, the probation department will contact you with the restitution payment schedule. The first payment is due August 1st. If they miss it, call me immediately. I will, I said. He extended his hand. It's been an honor working with you. You're going to make an incredible lawyer. I shook his hand. Thank you for believing me, for taking this seriously. That's my job, he said. But between you and me, most victims don't have the courage to do what you did. You should be proud. We left the courthouse at 10:47 a.m. The July sun was brutal. The humidity made the air feel like soup, but I felt lighter than I had in months. It was done. Legally, officially, finally. My parents had been sentenced. They'd admitted their crimes in court. They'd been ordered to pay me back. They couldn't contact me. They couldn't hurt me anymore. Lunch? Priya suggested. My treat. You need real food. And alcohol, Uncle Paul added. If you're interested. I laughed. Actually laughed. For the first time in weeks. Lunch sounds perfect, I said. 2 years later, August 2026. It's been 2 years since the sentencing hearing. 24 months since I stood in that courtroom and told a judge exactly what my parents had done to me. 730 days since I walked out of that courthouse and started rebuilding my life. I'm writing this from my apartment in New Haven. 1 bedroom, top floor of a 3-story walk-up, hardwood floors, big windows that let in afternoon light. Plants on the windowsill, I've managed to keep them alive for 6 months, which feels like a personal record. The apartment costs $1,350 a month. I pay it myself, from my own bank account, with money I earned. No one can take that from me. The financial recovery. Let me start with the numbers, because numbers matter when you're recovering from financial abuse. The credit cards. All three fraudulent accounts were removed from my credit report by October 2024. Chase, Discover, and Capital One all concluded their fraud investigations and determined I was not responsible for the charges. My credit score recovered to 720 by January 2025. The restitution. My parents have paid $14,400 so far. That's $600 per month for 24 months. They've never missed a payment because they know if they do, they go to jail. They have 30 more months of payments remaining. By December 2028, they'll have paid back all $32,320. The GoFundMe. Strangers raised $42,000 for me. I used $8,000 for credit repair services and credit monitoring. I put $15,000 toward my student loans. I donated $5,000 to the Identity Theft Resource Center, an organization that helps victims of family fraud. The remaining $14,000 is in a savings account earning interest my emergency fund. My student loans. I started with $62,000. Thanks to the GoFundMe, my payments, and my salary, I've paid it down to $38,000. I'm on track to pay it off completely by 2030. My current financial status, $9,200 in savings, 0 credit card debt, 1 student loan that I'm aggressively paying down, income of $65,000 per year from my job. For the first time in my adult life, I'm financially stable. Not because my parents helped me. In spite of them. The career. I'm in my second year at Yale Law School. Top 15% of my class. Law review candidate. Summer associate position at a civil rights firm in New York that pays $3,800 per week for 10 weeks. I'm specializing in family law and financial crimes. Specifically, I want to work with victims of financial abuse, people whose families stole from them, defrauded them, or manipulated them financially. Because I know what it feels like to be told you're overreacting, to be told it's a family matter, to be told you should handle it privately. I know what it feels like to file a police report against your parents, and I want to help other people do the same thing. Last semester, I published a paper in the Yale Law Journal. Family Fraud. Why Identity Theft by Relatives Requires Criminal Prosecution, Not Just Civil Remedies. It's been cited 14 times already. Professor Chen told me it's one of the most impactful student papers she's seen in years. You're going to change the law on this, she said. I'm sure of it. I hope she's right. The relationships, who I lost. Let me be honest about what I lost when I reported my parents. I lost my mother. We haven't spoken since the courtroom. She sends the restitution payments through an automated bank transfer. No notes, no messages. Just $600 on the first of every month. I lost my father. Same story. 0 contact. The no contact order is still in effect, and I haven't asked to lift it. I lost Vanessa. My sister sent me one text message 6 months after the sentencing. I didn't know they were using your credit. I'm sorry. I never responded. What was I supposed to say? She'd benefited from $24,320 of stolen money and never asked questions. I lost my grandmother. She died last year. I found out through Uncle Paul. I wasn't invited to the funeral. I lost Aunt Ruth, Cousin Daniel, and about a dozen other extended family members who decided I was the villain in this story. I lost the fantasy of having a normal family, of reconciliation, of someday sitting around a holiday table together and pretending everything was fine. That's what I lost. The relationships, who I gained. But here's what I gained. I gained Uncle Paul. He calls me every Sunday. We have dinner once a month. He's become the father figure my actual father never was. Last month, he told me he's proud of me. Not just for what you accomplished, he said, but for who you've become despite everything. I gained Cousin Maria. She's become like a sister to me, the sister Vanessa never was. We text almost daily. She's in therapy now, working through her own family trauma. You gave me permission to set boundaries, she told me. Watching you do it made me realize I could too. I gained Professor Chen. She's become my mentor, my advocate, and my friend. She writes me letters of recommendation. She introduces me to people in the legal field. She checks in on me. You're the daughter I wish I'd had, she said once. And I cried for an hour. I gained Priya, my best friend, my chosen sister. She let me live on her couch for 3 months until I could afford my own place. She held me while I cried. She celebrated every victory. You saved your own life, she told me after the sentencing. I'm just honored I got to witness it. I gained a community of survivors, people who've experienced family fraud and found me through the viral video. We have a private Facebook group now, 127 members. We share resources, support each other, celebrate when someone files a police report or wins a court case. I gained myself. The version of me that doesn't apologize for existing, that doesn't shrink to make other people comfortable, that knows my worth isn't determined by whether my parents acknowledge it. That's what I gained. The current status. Where they are now. I don't talk to my parents, but I know things through Uncle Paul. They still live in the same house. West Hartford. The house where they intercepted my credit cards and opened my mail. Dad still works as an aerospace engineer, but he was passed over for a promotion last year. Uncle Paul thinks the felony conviction affected it even though it's sealed. People talk. Mom quit her job at the dental office. Officially, she said it was to focus on herself. Uncle Paul thinks she couldn't handle the shame. Small town. Everyone knew. Their marriage is strained. Uncle Paul says they fight constantly. About money. About me. About whose fault it was. They're still paying $600 per month for 30 more months. A reminder, every single month, of what they did. Vanessa moved to a cheaper apartment. She can't afford the expensive lifestyle anymore, now that she has to pay for it herself. She's working retail, living paycheck to paycheck. Uncle Paul says she's struggling. I don't feel sorry for her. She knew something was wrong. She knew our parents couldn't afford her lifestyle. She chose not to ask questions because the answers would have been inconvenient. The current status where I am now. I live alone. By choice. I have my own apartment, my own furniture, nothing from West Elm, thank you very much, my own bank account that no one else can access. I have a cat. His name is Justice. Because I have a sense of humor and because it's true. I have a community. Priya lives 20 minutes away. Professor Chen's office is a 10-minute walk. Uncle Paul is an hour's drive. Cousin Maria visits every few weeks. I have a future. Law school graduation in May 2027. A job already lined up at the New York Civil Rights Coalition starting August 2027. $78,000 starting salary. I have peace. Most days anyway. Some days I still think about them. Wonder if they ever really understood what they did. Wonder if they tell themselves a version of the story where they're the victims. Some days I'm still angry. At them. At the family members who chose their side. At the injustice of having to fight this hard just to be seen. But most days I'm just grateful. Grateful I found out. Grateful I reported it. Grateful I stood on that stage and told the truth. Grateful I chose myself. The lessons learned. If you're reading this, and if any part of my story sounds familiar, I want you to know something. Family isn't about blood. It's about who shows up, who supports you, who celebrates your success instead of stealing from it. You don't owe loyalty to people who hurt you, not even if they're your parents, not even if everyone tells you to forgive them, not even if it's just a family matter. Financial abuse is abuse. Identity theft is a crime. It doesn't matter who commits it. You have the right to protect yourself, to set boundaries, to walk away from people who hurt you, to press charges if they break the law. And here's the thing nobody tells you. Doing the right thing doesn't always feel good. Sometimes it feels terrible, lonely, scary. But you do it anyway, because you deserve better than being someone's victim. The final reflection. It's August 2026. I'm 24 years old. I'm in my second year of law school at Yale. I have $9,200 in savings. I have an apartment that's mine. I have a future that no one can steal. 2 years ago, my parents stood on a stage at my graduation and told 300 people that my sister was the real success. They were wrong. I am the success. Not because I graduated from Yale, not because I'm in law school, not because I have money in the bank, but because I survived their betrayal and built a life anyway. Because I refused to be silent. Because I chose accountability over complicity. I took my life back from people who tried to steal it. And now? Now I'm free. They still have 30 months of payments left, 30 more reminders of what they did, 30 more months of facing the consequences of their choices. But me? I'm done carrying their guilt. I'm done wondering if I did the right thing. I know I did. And if my story helps even one person find the courage to report financial abuse, to set boundaries, to walk away from family that hurts them, then every second of pain was worth it. Epilogue. A letter I'll never send. Sometimes I still write letters to my parents. I don't send them. But writing helps. Here's the one I wrote last night. Dear Mom and Dad, you're probably wondering if I think about you. If I miss you. If I regret what I did. The answer is sometimes, no, and never. Sometimes I think about you. I think about the parents I wish you'd been. The ones who celebrated my acceptance to Yale instead of barely acknowledging it. The ones who helped me when I struggled instead of stealing from me. I don't miss you. I miss the fantasy of you. The version I kept hoping you'd become if I just worked hard enough, achieved enough, proved myself enough. But I don't regret reporting you, not for a single second. You committed a crime. You faced consequences. That's how the world is supposed to work. The difference between us is this. I've moved on. I've built a life. I'm thriving. You're still paying $600 a month to the daughter you didn't value until the law forced you to. I hope every payment hurts. I hope you think about what you lost every time you write that check. I hope you realize, eventually, that you didn't lose me because I reported you. You lost me because you stole from me. I was never the problem. You were. Sincerely, the daughter you underestimated. I close my laptop. Outside my window, the sun is setting over New Haven. The sky is pink and orange and gold. Justice, my cat, jumps onto my lap, purrs, settles in. My phone buzzes. Text from Priya. Dinner tomorrow? My place? I'm making your favorite. Me. Absolutely. I'll bring wine. Another text. Professor Chen. Great work on your appellate brief. This is A+ material. See you Monday. Another. Uncle Paul. Lunch this Sunday? My treat. Want to hear about your summer associate applications? I look around my apartment. My space. My furniture. My life. Paid for with my own money. Built with my own hands. Protected by boundaries I chose to set. No one can take this from me. Not anymore. I did it. I survived. I reported. I exposed. I rebuilt. And now? Now I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Free.